yeah. What is going on, everybody? I hope you're having a great Tuesday evening. You know, New York Giants football is around the corner when the two biggest Daniel Jones haters get together for a little collab. What's going on? I got my man Tim from Online Big Blue with us tonight. What's going on, my man? How you doing? How was your summer?
Summer's good. I have to laugh because the last time we did something was almost exactly 6 months ago.
Yep.
And I laughed because I checked that through the Twitter, whatever, because I don't know how to delete anything on Twitter. So I checked the Twitter messages and I was like, really, it's been that long? We haven't had anything to talk about since?
Yeah, I don't do a lot of I haven't collabed with anybody during the offseason. There's nothing really to talk about it. I mean, even Chris and I, we went 3 months without doing our show. There's just nothing to really discuss. You try to find content. I mean, I know you do video every day, and I know it's got to be hard, especially in the offseason, to find stuff to talk about when there's not a ton going on. So right. Now it's fun because now there is always something. There's always some kind of story going on, so it becomes a little easier. Everybody's excited for the new season, a new regime. We're excited to see what Daboll, Kafka, and company can do, and we'll get into all that and all your questions, of course, in the chat. Who we got here? Michael Lee, Charlie G, Irish Rover, Chino, what's going on? Jadis Young, Anthony Kivler, Danny Santos, Robbie 24 Cano, my friend, what's going on? Nova Nabella, Flex Lopez, the heavyweight champion of the world, says, woo! Luann, Afghanistan, Namar Seacon, what's going on? Chris Peace in the house. Mr. Mini Guy, Brandon Burkhart, Alex Rinaldi, diehard Giants fan, my good man. What is up? Warren Seaball with AC, James Williams, your guy James in the house. He's the man.
You know what? I'm looking at the chat. It's old home week. Every time I see these names for some reason.
Yeah, that's just what it is. The Giants fans, man. The Giants fans are awesome. So let me ask you this, my friend. You obviously, like I said, you've been doing a video every day. You pretty much talk about what's going on with training camp. What have you seen that you've liked at training camp? Is there any player that stands out? And then tell me somebody that you don't like, or something you don't like, or some player you think is underperformed so far.
Underperformed so far. Yeah,
I
you just want to jump into the shit right now. It's like, hold on, I can't think of anybody right off the top of my head. But if you're gonna go simple, you're gonna go Kayvon Thibodeau. The first step looks explosive. Darnay Holmes seems like he's, as a former defensive back myself, he seems like he's figured it out. That the game is slowed down. I've talked about it multitudes of times. When you go from high school to college, the game is speeding up, and it takes a while for it to slow down for you. It usually doesn't take 3 years, but it looks like he's found his niche, and he's found his. I don't know exactly where he's going to fit on this team. I mean, is he going to be like the Marcus Peters role, that Wink had over in Baltimore? Is he going to slide into more like that? Is he going to be is he going to be straight up in the slot? I mean, who knows? But I mean, it's good to see the defense finally putting something together, having an attacking style for a change. And I was never a big Patrick Graham fan. I think everyone knew that. I think his first season, I said it a million times. They were a team that was just they were a team of versatility, and that's what they needed to be. But their versatility was lacking at times. Now with an attacking style defense, we're going to live and die with the pass rush, and we're going to live and die with the corner. So. You got Xavier McKinney looks good, but if you want to shift the pendulum, you want to
Barkley. How do you think Barkley's looked so far?
He's looked explosive. He looks like he's got that first step back. It looks like he's got that explosion. I mean, will it translate into the season? You hope it does.
Right.
I mean, Daboll's come out and said that everyone's playing on Thursday.
Yes, he did, which is a good thing. That's a good thing.
And I remember Barkley's rookie year because I was at his first preseason game where he carried the ball twice. And I think the second run was 46 yards and they took it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So are they going to do something similar to that with Barkley? I don't know, but it's one of those things that you got to kind of think, you're going to need him for the season. You're going to need him. You're not going to risk him in training. I mean, not going to risk him. And the way he bowled over Darnay Holmes. I mean,
yes,
might have started a fight pretty much. What do you think of Bobby Johnson though? Bobby Johnson, get the offensive line coach, getting into it with Cam Brown. I mean, I got an opinion on that as a former player and someone that's worked in the NFL and someone that has seen coaches. But what do you think of that? Do you think anything of it?
I mean, he probably shouldn't put his hands in the players, but I do like the fact that he stands up for his guys. I mean, he knew he was wrong. I don't think a coach should ever put his hands in a player, anything like that, unless he's breaking it up. Like, I don't think he should have thrown Cam Brown to the ground the way he did. But even he said, I shouldn't have done that. It was unprofessional of me. So, I mean, I'm not going to be like, oh, that was a horrible thing to do. Again, it's the heat of the moment, and anytime you're in the heat of the moment, you're in a skirmish and you're just in there, you're in the scrum. I mean, what are you going to do? So I don't think it was the worst thing ever. But again, I think he knows if he could do it over again, he wouldn't have done it that exact way. But like I said, if you're getting in there to break it up, I don't have a problem with it. But I'm not like, oh, that was a terrible thing he did. He should be reprimanded and all this other stuff. I don't think so. I think Brian Daboll handled it well in the video I made today. I think the thing that Brian Daboll said was best. Like, I don't mind a good camp fight. I mean, you're going to have that. That's part of it. These guys are chippy. They're competitive. There's a lot of testosterone out there. But I did like that Brian Daboll said, that's what losing teams do. You know, you don't want one every day. You don't want one every other day. And he said, that's what losing teams do. And I said, you know what? He's right, because we've been a losing team. And I'm like, you know what? This type of thing should end it. That should shut everybody up. That's what losing teams do. Stop it. We're done with this.
And my thought kind of going with the same thing. To me, it was Joe Judge-esque. It was that mistake that is made. It's the Mark Colombo thing. It's that mistake that is made. I've said it before. I mean, 3 years in Pop Warner, 4 years in high school, 3 years in college, another 4 years in the pros, and 3 years in the AFL. I've never seen a coach go after a player.
Right.
And I worked with John Gruden. I mean, I saw the two-a-days back in Tampa, the year after they won the Super Bowl. And Warren Sapp and everyone, Derek Brooks, but you never saw that.
Right.
And I just got concerned that, I had Joe Judge flashbacks.
Right.
And that was my big thing. And to your point, I loved how Daboll handled it, and I loved what Bobby Johnson said. I can't do this.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. I mean, he's not supposed to put his hands in a player and everything else. So, but yeah, Thibodeau, he's been freaking awesome. McKinney's been the defense obviously looks far ahead of the offense, which you would kind of figure. I don't think I think it's easier to play defense than it is to play offense, especially when you're learning a new system. Wink Martindale's just like, go after him. I think it's the easiest thing for a guy to do is pass rush. That's why I think it's so easy for a defensive end to translate to the NFL. I think that's the easiest adjustment for any position is the defensive end, because it's like you're doing the same thing that you've done throughout college. And you're going to go against better linemen, but it's pretty basic. It's pretty similar stuff. Let's say Evan dropping off in zone coverage, which is something they didn't do in college. But as a lineman like Evan Neal has struggled.
Right.
It seems like he's getting his feet underneath him now, but do you have any concern with the way he's played so far? Or are you just chalking up that he's a rookie?
You know what? I didn't have concerns that first year with Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas struggled. I mentioned, I think 6 or 7 games into the season, that he seemed like he had a little giddy up in his step when he went into pass blocking, that there was something wrong. He almost like he was skipping off the line, which has probably turned out to be the ankle. Right. But, and I know everyone kind of went crazy with that. Well, we should have got Mekhi Beckham. We see where Mekhi Beckham is right now. So you really can't say that. And, potentially Andrew Thomas could hopefully turn into a Pro Bowl. I'm not saying all pro, and maybe he turns into a Pro Bowler this year. It's a position he played mainly left tackle in college, so he's switching over to right. It's going to be a learning process. And hell, he changed numbers. So that old number is gone. So the curse of the number is gone. Now now he's ready. Now he's ready to go. But I mentioned to someone today, I'll be more concerned if it's week 13. Yeah. And we're still talking about the same issues.
I agree, because Andrew Thomas got off to a bad start his first month of the season. I think that's a pretty basic. I think a lot of those, especially like you said, he's moving to the other side of the line. So you got to learn a new position. You're going against NFL pass rushers, going against a defense that just loves to rush the passer. So it's something he'll have to learn. And yeah, he might struggle the first couple. I actually expect him to struggle the first couple of games. But yeah, like you said, if we're talking about this in December and he's had that bad of a year, then I might worry about it, because again, Andrew Thomas struggled at the beginning of his career too. And we see how well It's probably the best pick Gettleman had. I mean, it's definitely one of them. So it's ironic that he said he was coming in to fix the offensive line, and the only first-round lineman he took out of 6 picks was Andrew Thomas, and he actually ended up being pretty good. If he would have done this differently, he might still have his job. If he would have actually did what he said.
Only if he picks a quarterback.
What's that?
Said only if he picked a quarterback.
Ooh, Gettleman?
Yeah. Only if there was a quarterback somewhere around here.
Yeah, it's too bad he didn't wait a year. Could have had Justin Herbert, which is the guy I thought the Giants were going to get anyway. I thought Herbert would come out in 2019. He didn't. So, well, I know everybody's waiting. You know, everybody's like, oh, you talk so bad about Daniel Jones. What have you thought about Daniel Jones in training camp? Like today, he threw interceptions, but Dable said that was the drill. Just go back and throw it to your primary target, first receiver. Go back and throw it to him no matter what the situation is. And he has said that he's had
because that's what Pat Shurmur told him to do, and he was successful at times that first year because he was a one-read quarterback. Shurmur cut the field in half, gave him a primary, a secondary, and a check down, and told him basically told him shoot for your primary target. Yep. So he should have been good at it,
right? Yeah, the coverage is there though. I mean, I'm not reading too much into that. Now, obviously, he's made some throw. Again, our problem with Daniel Jones has always been his inability to read and go through, you know, a number of receivers and progress across the field and you know, not lock in on receivers and feel the pocket, feel the rush and be aware of what's around him, his surroundings, and be able to scan the field and go to your second and third receiver. Now, sometimes he hasn't had time because the line has not helped him out. But, you know, like I said, he did succeed under Shurmur somewhat. And he was a rookie and he did have his big games. And I think part of the thing Dable wanted him to do today is just not think. Because when Daniel Jones is a rookie, he made his rookie mistakes. It's going to happen. And he's not going to be the greatest quarterback ever. But when he just played with some confidence, he's such a different quarterback. When he played against Tampa his first game, he turned it over a couple of times, but he also scored four touchdowns, and he ran for 2. And he ran for the game winner. And I know Matt Gay missed a field goal that helped us win the game, but that's not Daniel Jones' fault that the defense couldn't stop him. It's not Daniel Jones' fault that Janoris Jenkins gave Mike Evans 190 yards and 3 touchdowns. Daniel Jones drove the Giants down and won the game. And at that point, I was excited because I said, that's what this kid can do. And I don't know if it was a Joe Judge thing. I mean, I'm optimistic that he can be better, definitely better than he was the last 2 years, but he still has to prove to me that he can be more than a one-read quarterback, not pat the football when he gets nervous and be able to step up in the pocket. Maybe not scramble, but if you feel the rush going around, or like you say, the rush is coming right at him and he doesn't see it, he's got to see that and roll out to the right or left to get away from it and buy some time with his legs. He is mobile. Try to locate that guy downfield. So I'm hoping that Dable and Kafka, listen, they work with the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL. We know Daniel Jones is not going to be Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes. He just doesn't have the talent. But if they could work around his talent, because he does have it, which is why I get so frustrated with him, I think that he could definitely, like I said, it'll be better than he was the last 2 years. And how good that's going to be, we'll find out. If he can be as good as he was his rookie season, a little bit more consistent, I think we'd have a pretty decent quarterback. I'm not going to say he's going to be a top 10 guy, but I think that if he cuts down turnovers and has games like he does rookie season, he could be in the top half of the league. So that's like as optimistic as I can get because he hasn't.
That's optimistic.
Yeah,
that's
don't know.
Pretty
Maybe
good. I wish I had that optimism. I really do, because I see Daniel Jones as he looks the part of a quarterback.
Yeah,
he looks the size. He if you look at him from afar, you say that's an NFL quarterback.
Yes.
And my problem is, to me, that's kind of where it stops, because of the fact that you get on the field, something happens, something is different with this guy. And I've said this a bazillion times. His rookie season, yes, he had his good moments, but as soon as the league starts compiling film, as soon as the league starts learning tendencies, as soon as the league figures out what he likes to do, what he doesn't like to do, if you don't adapt and you do not change to that, you are going to be what you were the last 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've mentioned this before. You take out the 3 big games that he had his rookie season.
Yep.
His stats are then over the next 3 years are eerily similar.
Yes.
It's like 12 touchdowns and 11 interceptions, like for the last 3 years. That's what you are. And you could bring in Kafka. You could bring in Vince Lombardi. it's not going to matter if he doesn't quite start understanding how to process what he's seen on the field. Because I said it yesterday, everyone's running the new, the new Windows. He's running DOS 2.0. That's what it looks like to me sometimes when he processes plays on the field. And it aggravates me a little bit because, first it's, well, he had a bad mini camp. But it's okay. Then he had a bad mandatory mini camp, but that's okay. But then he had a bad start to training camp, but that's okay. Then what is it going to be? He had a bad preseason game. That's okay too. Then he had a bad 6 weeks of the season. It's been 3 years. And I hate the comparison to Phil Simms and Eli Manning. Phil Simms, his rookie year in 79, actually was on an all rookie team. He was leading the Giants to the playoffs in 81 before he got hurt. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until Scott Bruner rolled up and won that playoff game that we have 2 years of devoided play because of the fact that Parcells almost got fired because he went to Bruner. And the same thing with Eli Manning. Eli Manning at least showed a progression from 1 year to the second year.
Yes, he did.
And then was kind of stagnant in year 3, but he was still throwing 24 touchdowns and everything else and staying on the field.
And 24 touchdowns back then was top 5 in the league. So
but that's what people don't get. The game has changed. The game has changed from when Craig Morton was throwing the ball in 76 to when, Phil Simms was throwing at 84 and to when Eli Manning was throwing in 2007. It's a totally different game. And I am concerned. I've said this before. To me, this is a lost season. And next year, Dable and Shane are going to buy themselves another year because they are going to draft a rookie quarterback. Mm-hmm. And to me, Daniel Jones has got to throw for 40 touchdowns and 4,500 yards and have the Giants, sniff the playoffs before they even consider giving him a contract or franchise tagging him.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to prove to them because they have no allegiance to Daniel Jones. And it's funny, I had Fisk on the channel the other night, and that was my big thing because he was talking about his rookie season. He said, why did he do so good against Tampa, not the other teams? I said, because they didn't have no film on him. And when you don't have film on him, and then all of a sudden they know your tendencies, and they know your weaknesses, and they can study what you do, and they can study how you read the play and how you progress or process plays and how you process defense and where the defense can get you, where you're weak holding on to the ball. There's a reason that quarterbacks fumble. There's a reason that some guys just go after the ball because they're like, oh, he's going to fumble if I hit him here. He doesn't see the rush coming from here. And defense coordinators, that's their job. He doesn't see the rush coming from here. He struggles with the rush coming from this side of the field. He doesn't see that side of the field. So we're going to go after him. And like you said, he has to adapt. It's kind of like a baseball player. When the baseball player comes up to the major leagues, the first thing pitchers in the majors are going to do, can he hit the fastball?
Right.
And if you can't hit the fastball, you're not long for the major leagues anyway. Now, if you're rocking fastballs all over the stadium, then they're going to say, okay, 3-1, throwing you a slider. You're going to throw your breaking ball to start off the count. Can you hit the off-speed pitch? Can you hit the slider? And that's what they do. They go through all those and they go, you know what? He can't hit the slider. So let's just keep throwing him a slider. And then it's his job to adapt and say, oh, I'm going to get a slider when I'm ahead in the count. They're not going to throw me a fastball. I got to figure out how to hit the slider. It's kind of like Daniel Jones. He has to figure out how to hit the slider. When they're throwing fastballs at him and he doesn't get blitzed and he has time back there to scan, he's decent. But when he has to think on the fly, again, it's just too slow. Another thing I talk about,
going right.
Right. What, perfect example. Fisk talked about the game against, not the first game against Tampa, but when we had the 2-point conversion, when they threw the flag and they picked it up. And he said, there was a pass interference. I said, but if you look at that play, I forgot the running back. He's wide open. Yeah. And if Daniel Jones just drops back and leads the guy to the corner of the end zone, the game's tied. It's not even close. The guy, I cannot remember the running back. It was not Barkley, but for the life of me, I can't remember who the hell it was. Was it Gallman maybe? I don't know. It might not even been Gallman. Might have been third string back. But he cuts and he's wide open. And all Jones has to do is loft the ball or throw it right easily, and it's a 2-point conversion. Said he hesitates, and the defensive back's able to catch up, and then he throws it behind him, which caused the collision. And honestly, I don't think the officials are going to call a flag, but I didn't think they'd actually leave that flag on the field. But it's that type of thing that has driven me crazy about Daniel Jones. And when people defend Daniel Jones, I get it. You want your quarterback to win, but at the same time, we're like you said, Tim, this is his 4th year, and we're still talking about he needs to do this. He needs to get better at this. He doesn't process this. Can he do this? This is his 3rd system. Can he figure this out?
Yep.
Is he going to be any good? So it gets difficult because usually by year 4, you know what a quarterback is. We're not having this discussion.
Well, usually by year 3, you know what a quarterback is.
Nobody's discussing what Justin Herbert's going to be doing this year or Joe Burrow. Nobody's talking about what Dak Prescott was in year 4. When you have those guys that are the major question marks, like Sam Darnold or Mitch Trubisky, you see what their careers are. They're nothing. And you might even be having that about Baker Mayfield right now. It's those type of quarterbacks just don't succeed. They end up being average and they end up being out of the league, average, below average, if you can't figure it out. So again, big question mark, but
you know what it is though? It is, and I'm going to show my age again. It reminds me of a quarterback way back in the day from Notre Dame, Rick Meyer. Rick Meyer came out. He came out, went to Seattle, had the good season. Big rookie season from what statistically was a rookie season back then.
Yes.
Then the league in year 2 figured out he couldn't throw to his left, and it's like a basketball player that can't go to his left. Once you figure out someone who can't go to the left, what do? You block off the left. You block off the right and make him go to the left. And he basically bounced around the league for 15 years as a backup. Was given a shot in with the Bears to win the job. He was at the Jets at one point. But he never adjusted, and he became the journeyman that he was that day because he never figured out, I got to figure out how to do this differently. Mm-hmm. And I get worried and I don't think it's a lack of work ethic for Daniel Jones. I really don't think it's that. I just think that some people process things faster. Mm-hmm. And if you go back statistically in 2020, he held on to the ball the 3rd longest in the league. Yeah. Now, when you have a bad Russell Wilson, I can't forget who was number 2, but when you have a bad offensive line, you can't hold on to the ball the 3rd longest in the league. Last year, I think I think he held on to the ball the 5th longest in the league. Once again, you're blaming the offensive line, but if you don't get rid of the ball, and then people are like, well, Jason Garrett didn't let him pass. He actually averaged like 38 attempts per game, which was above the league average. The problem was, well, if you're not processing what you see on the field and you can't determine that, how is he going to run a more complicated Dable Kafka system when he had a hard time running what people are referring to as a simplistic Garrett system?
Right. Yeah, no, that's a great point. Let me get to these real quick and then we'll discuss him a little bit further. Dashy, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. He says Reds trail 4-2 to the Mets. Also, no pineapple on a pizza. What is Tim's take on pineapple on a pizza? That is always a big to do over here. I'm Italian. There is no pineapple on a pizza.
Am I drinking?
I don't know. Are you drinking?
Is it 3 o'clock in the morning? I don't know the pineapple's there. I think that's my answer.
When you're coherent, it's 6:30 on a Saturday night.
Yeah, there's no pineapple. There's no crying in baseball, and there's no pineapple on pizza.
Perfect. Good answer. Zach, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. He says the fan is in an uncommitted relationship with DJ. Everyone's talking about getting a quarterback in 2023, but also semi-defend DJ. And I'll be honest, I think part of the defense of Daniel Jones is that he's a giant. We just want him to do well. And we are hopeful that this kid figures it out. I know I am. I've always, my contention with these Daniel Jones, just absolute blind supporters, is that they call me a hater when I'm just, like I said, I just talk about the way he played. I'm not making a big deal about one interception if he had a good game, or I don't do that. I just talk about the way he played. So if he played good, I give him credit. If he doesn't, I give him criticism. And that's the way it is in the real world. This isn't just football. And like I said in the one video, unfortunately, 2/3 of the time, my content's not going to be positive because he's lost 2/3 of his games.
Right.
But let me ask you this. Now, listen, I've never made this, no bones about this. He's in a bad situation. The Giants have been a pathetic team. They put a pathetic team around him. And even when they do have some decent guys, they're always hurt. If Barkley can be the Barkley he was in 2018, and Kenny Golladay and Kadarius Toney stay healthy, how much does that help Daniel Jones going forward? Well, obviously, if he's not throwing to David Sills, he should be a little bit better.
This is the interesting point because Zach, I refer to him as Zach Attack and Irish Rover, and everyone else that I see in the chat that it's old home week again. I've said this a million times about Daniel Jones. It's the Daniel Jones curse. We didn't have all these injuries till he showed up. I think there's an aura. I think there's something around here. There's like this light around this team right now that
you know what it is.
Gets hurt.
I think Capizzle mentioned this. It's Sterling Shepard. He's the last guy from the boat trip.
He's the last guy from the boat trip.
So we got to get rid of him, and maybe the curse will be lifted.
No, I think the curse still wears number 8. I mean,
number 8 and number 87 could be gone anyway, or number 3. He's not number 87 anymore.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is this. He if you take a look again, I think it's the fact that go back to the early days in Tom Brady's career. And I think you and I've talked about this before. Who was his receivers? Jabbar Gaffney, David Patton.
Yeah,
David he wasn't
Troy
Brown. Troy Brown. He wasn't throwing the guys that were in the Hall of Fame. He wasn't throwing to Randy Moss yet. He wasn't throwing to Gronk yet. He was throwing to nobody.
Deion Branch.
Deion Branch had 2,000-yard season. So you know what? I'm going to call him an above average guy.
Well, you know who else had 1,000-yard seasons there? Wes Welker. Wes Welker didn't have another 1,000-yard season when he didn't play.
After he left.
And that even includes playing with Peyton Manning in Denver.
Yep.
He didn't have a 1,000-yard season before Brady. He didn't have a 1,000-yard season after Brady.
And I pointed this out before. Look at all the wide receivers that Eli's had. Who was, except for OBJ, just happened, but who was successful after they left New York and left Eli Manning?
What was that? I was looking at the chat.
Name one successful receiver outside of OBJ that left New York and Eli Manning and had more success someplace else?
Oh God, I couldn't tell you.
Because Victor Cruz was hurt and went to Detroit. He went to the Bears, did nothing.
Yep.
Ruben Randall went to the Eagles.
Steve Smith went to the Eagles. Nothing happened there.
But it's some guys just make other guys better. And I'm not saying that Daniel Jones hasn't had his share of injuries. But Joe Burrows played behind one of the worst offensive lines in football last year and made the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Russell
Wilson's always played behind a bad offense.
Russell Wilson's had terrible offensive lines and gone to the Super Bowl. It's you, and I've said this a million times, you elevate yourself above the talent and you make people around you better. That's always my big question. Does Daniel Jones do that? And if we all want to be honest, it was that high throw to Saquon Barkley, his second season from Daniel Jones that caused him to have the ankle injury.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I've said about this, and I mentioned this a number of times, Eli Manning and all of his receivers told you this. Victor Cruz, Hakeem Nicks. Damn it, that got caught at the track. I was hoping that was a home run for the Yankees. They'll tell you that Eli Manning put him in the right place to succeed. And I think that was a big underrated aspect of Barkley's rookie season is Eli Manning's ability to change blocking schemes, to know where the blitz was coming from, to know where the overload was coming from, to be able to read the stunts or if the linebacker shooting the A gap or whatever it was, the corners coming off the edge. He's able to audible and say, I'm not going to run Barkley into that section where all the rush is going to come from. I'm going to counter it and I'm going to go the other way and give him, a big hole over there where we have more guys against less guys over there, more of an overload, say to the right side, say the blitz is coming from the left side, they overload over there. And then he's like, I see that, even though they're not lined up like that, but he knows that it's coming. He sees it. He points it out. This guy's coming. We're going to do this, go that way.
If you look at Saquon Barkley's second year, his best games came with Eli Manning under center.
I agree.
And I've said that a million times. Eli Manning put him in the places that he would succeed.
Let's put it this way, Tim. In his second year, and I know he got hurt, but he had 3 games. He had 4 games where he rushed for 100 yards. Eli started 3 of them.
Yep.
So, again, that goes back to being a cerebral quarterback. Jones infuriates me because, again, like you said, you look at him, he looks like a quarterback. He throws like a quarterback. He's tall. His arm isn't as weak as everybody thinks. He's got a decent arm. It's not great.
No, but he's got an NFL arm.
Yeah, he's got an NFL arm. He's accurate. He has a nice touch on the ball. It's only half the game. I mean, there's a lot of guys that came out of college with better skills than Daniel Jones that failed. Jamarcus Russell, complete failure, complete flop. People say Dwayne Haskins, God rest his soul, had better skills than DJ, came a complete flop. Sam Darnold, complete flop. So, any USC quarterback's gonna be a flop. I shouldn't even mention Sam Darnold. That's just the way it goes. If you come from Florida, Ohio State, or USC, don't even draft him. Don't even draft him. It's not gonna work. It just isn't. No good quarterbacks. Who's a good quarterback that came out of Florida? Danny Wuerffel?
I was gonna give you Carson Palmer at a USC.
USC, right? That's about it. That's the only guy at a USC.
That's the only guy.
But that's it. Well, good running backs come from USC.
Good running back. You know, you got Steve Spurrier coming out of Florida.
Yeah, there you go. That goes way back. That's even before your time, I think.
Not that more. Not that far. I wish it was. I
that guy Jose, that's one reason I love having Tim on the channel, because I think Tim may be the only content creator that's older than yours truly.
I remember in 76 when
I was born in 76.
Spurrier played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
That's how bad that is. All right.
That's all right. That's all right. Age is a mindset, right? You got great freaking hair. I'd love to have the hair. That'd be great. That guy, Jose, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. How many years do you think Mara will give Shane and Dable? This year's a throwaway.
Yep.
Their clock starts, like Tim said, if they draft the quarterback next year, their clock starts next year, and they're probably going to get 3 or 4 years with that quarterback. You're probably going to get the rookie quarterback contract. So I would say 4 or 5 years at the least. Let's hope they get more because they're good.
Right. Let's hope we win. So then we're not having this conversation. You know, we're going to sit there and have a George Young Parcells situation going on.
Right. You know, that's the other thing. I know a lot of guys said Joe Judge should have got another year. They got rid of him too soon. I don't think he deserved another year. Is terrible. But the problem with the Giants was they kept alternating and carouseling GMs and coaches like Shermer. So, for instance, Reese should have been gone when Coughlin was gone.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all. He should have been gone after 2015, or they should have kept Coughlin there. Instead, they alternated it. Then he got released and McAdoo, and then Shermer and Gettleman came in at the same time. But then Shermer was gone in 2 years, and then Gettleman stayed on. He should have went 2, and then they brought in Joe Judge, and now they fired them both again. So the one thing that I think these two guys, Shane and Dable, have going for them definitely is that they both come from the Buffalo Bills. They have worked together, so they should already be on the same page, knowing what they want, knowing how they work together. I think that's a big advantage for the Giants. And I also think, and I'll get your take on this, Tim, because I haven't talked to you since, all the offseason doings and everything. I think that John Mara finally is saying, you do your job. He's fired 2 scouts. And remember, this wasn't his scouting department that right. Scouted the draft players. This was Gettleman's, because Shane didn't have this job. So next year, it'll be all Shane's guys. He'll send guys out that he wants to look at. But the fact that he fired 2 scouts and Chris Mara got demoted, I think that's such a huge move that, John Mara actually allowed to happen. So, I mean, what is your take on Joe Shane being able to make moves within the front office like that?
It reminds me of we're not going to say his name, but it reminds me of a certain NBA owner. He works at MSG, and he all of a sudden at one point in time, hope you didn't spit that up.
Yeah.
I don't say the name, but
I don't blame you.
He went hands off and he hired Phil Jackson. And you know what? And if all the crap that he had, the issues with Spike Lee and Charles Oakley and all that, but he stayed away from basketball operations.
Yeah.
And has anything good happened to that yet? No, but you know what? It's a different sport, but at least he was an owner that understood at a certain point in time he had to step away. They did
make the playoffs a couple of years ago.
They did make the playoffs 2 years ago. Did John Mara, did the light bulb click off in his head that, he's not the owner in Dallas? Again, we're not going to say Jerry Jones's name. Oh, there we go. But, Jerry Jones, who's always got his hands in the cookie jar. I don't know. I am optimistically hopeful that he understands that, the Maras have been running this team since Wellington, and Wellington was smart enough, back in after, the Miracle in the Meadowlands to reach out and get George Young. Right. And then he left football operations alone. Is he going to do that with Shane and Dable? Here's my thing. Shane is young enough that if Shane does not start producing, let's say in year 2, let's say this draft doesn't hit this year. I'm going to tell you right now, I have a feeling that Mara is going to be a little bit more hands-on going into year 2, because I think he just thinks, if you watch the press conference when they introduced Shane, it was almost like, the granddad was introducing the grandson.
Yep.
And I thought that was the first thing that popped in my head. So is he going to be that overbearing grandfather or father if they don't start winning and he's not hitting on his draft choices? I think
kind of like Steinbrenner used to be.
Yeah. I think like with George, I think he just thinks that sometimes he's the smartest man. And I've said this before. He thinks he's the smartest man in the room. And usually when you think that, you are not the smartest man in the room.
Correct. Yeah, Jerry Jones, perfect example.
Exactly.
I hope he lives to be 1,000. I mean, Philly 500 said he just had a birthday and he turned 810. So
I'm close.
Which ironically is how many videos Mark Holmes makes a day. So perfect for them. Red Rich, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, my friend. He says lots of comments about how difficult the system is. You've seen the Bills run this system with no issues. I think the players on this team are too dumb to understand it. Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out. Quick.
You're gonna find out Thursday. And I always enjoy Red Rich's comments.
Find out.
Because he doesn't hold back. But I'm not saying the players are too dumb. I'm like, I never, I will say that I played with players that were not, not the most fleet of foot when it comes to intelligence.
Right.
But I don't see that. I don't see that being the problem. I just think it's going to be a new system.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't think the players will have a hard time picking it up. It like anything else, it takes time to adapt. But I'm not going to sit here and use it as an excuse if in a month into the season we're sitting at 0-4 and we've scored 46 points in 4 games. I'm not going to sit there and go, "Oh, yeah, it's okay. It's just a new system." It's a new system. I'm not doing that. You play good or you don't play good, because, like I said, if I get a new boss, my job is pretty much the same. He may want me to do, or she may want me to do different things, but they're not going to be like way different. It's not like it's not like they're just going to say, "Yo, Daniel, so we want you to play left guard." You know what I mean? It's not like they're doing that, just tweaking things a little bit. They have different systems, but you're still playing the same position. So, it is what it is. By the way, we have 300 in the house. Thank you for being here. We really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so, if you hit that like for me, let's check the numbers. 114 likes. Let's get 200 likes. We can get 200 likes. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell. A lot of Giants content coming on this channel. As you know, football season's here. More importantly, the link to Online Big Blue. The link to his channel is the first thing in the description. So please make sure you go in there and subscribe to him. Like I said, he puts out a video almost every day. He live streams with our good friend Dominic from across the pond,
who will be
proud owner of Poppycockers.
What's up? Dom is flying in for the preseason game.
Very nice.
So he is coming, and we're actually going to be giving away. We're all staying in the coaches club. So it's going to be me, OGR Sports, James Williams, Dahmer, and we're giving away a ticket. So you get to hang out with us. And I don't know if you are aware, but I'm doing the 40-yard pass challenge after the game. I'm going to stand on the 35-yard line, and I'm throwing a strike to James Williams 5 yards into the end zone.
Nice.
And this will be filmed, and it's a one-shot deal because I'm old, and I think I can only do it once.
I don't think I could do it once at all. My arm might fall off. And, it's my favorite thing is, I work out. People know I work out. I got a fitness channel, all that stuff. They're like, "Oh, man." I put pictures of me on Instagram working out. Like, "Oh, you need to be a linebacker, man. Oh, you need whatever." I'm like, number one, I'm not big. Number two, I'm old. And number three, those guys would kill me. Working out is not the same as playing football. It's way different. The muscles are different. The reactions, I'd get killed. I'd jump off the line, hamstring, and be gone immediately. Ow. Or I'd be in the ice tub for the next week. I'd be like, I didn't even know I had that place on my body. That hurts like a son of a bitch. What the hell what is that thing?
I did a video the other day. I found my old shoulder pads, and I put them on. I wore them through the entire video. And I laughed because it was only like a 10-minute video, and I think it took me like 15 minutes to do the whole thing. And at one point in time, I'm like sitting there going, "Wow, when did these get so heavy?"
They looked heavy.
It's like, I remember these used to be light.
Yeah, you were definitely in full gear there. Mark, my friend, what's going on, buddy? Thank you so much for the super chat, man. I really appreciate that. He said, "What up, Baddog? What up, Tim?"
That's a big Mark. Mark will be at the game. Right, Mark?
What this first one? Is it the first tomorrow?
It's the home game against the Bengals. So it's August 21st. We're going to do a stream sometime before then and give away the ticket. So if you've never been to the coaches club, it's an experience. And they let you do at the end of the game, they let you go out onto the field and kind of hang out for a little bit. So, and that's why cool. And someone said to me, "Well, you can't throw the ball 20 yards." And that my big mouth, I said, "I can throw 40." And then I love it because then James Williams came up to me and goes, "Can you throw it 40 yards?" I said, we're gonna find out on the 21st. Be
all
there.
I can say is this: if you can throw it 40 yards, James Williams better not pull an Evan Ingram out there and drop that.
Oh, that's already been discussed.
You know, that's like Lawrence
he drops,
Taylor.
he's walking home.
That's like Phil Simms having his number retired and throwing that big pass to LT. And LT said, if I drop this, I got to run my ass all the way back to New Jersey.
Well, like I already told James, he's walking home if he drops it. If I get it to the end zone, he's walking.
Yeah. A lot of pressure on both parties there. So that'll be good. Has Dom been to the States before?
Dom has been to the States before, but he's never been to an NFL game. And of course, he's a huge Giant fan. Yes. His father spent a lot of time in New York, but he's never really like done the experience. So we have him flying out, which will be fun. He's staying at Casa de Online Big Blue, so that'll be interesting. I let him know that the last Englishman we had come to our house didn't leave, but don't worry, his luck might be better.
Yeah, my guy Cheddarhead's in the house. What's going on, Cheddarhead? A Packer fan, Clipper fan. Basketball starts in a couple months. October is going to be freaking ridiculous. I'm never going to have a night off. We'll have Giants football, so I'll be making a lot of videos, usually 3 or 4 a week. Plus, we have the Giants game, talking Giants. Lakers start, and of course, Yankee playoff baseball. I'm not going to get a moment's sleep in October, but it'll be fun. October, November, those are fun months on the channel for sure. He says over under Giants winning 6 games. I actually have them over. I'm going to win 7.
I went the other way. I got him at 5.
Yeah, I'm at 5. I figure the ceiling is 9 and the floor is 5. So I kind of put him in the middle. I feel like we can beat Washington. I feel like we can beat Philly. And I feel like we can beat Detroit, Jacksonville, Seattle. I forgot who the hell else we played. I'm like, we can beat them too. The Texans I have beating us though. I'm like, the Giants are going to be on a roll, and then they come out of the bye and they always lose a stupid game that they're not supposed to. I'm like, that's the game. The damn Texans. Carolina. We should beat Carolina and Chicago, which I'm trying to get to that Chicago game like a son of a bitch.
My thing, you're going to the game. Would
they play working on that?
Oh, you're working on that. They play at home, right?
They play at home, but I'm working on it because I don't like to drive. I don't like to drive.
Well, I just re-upped my season tickets after I let them go for 2 years. So, and my wife goes, "You hate driving." I was like, and it's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, I hate driving down there. So my brother-in-law will drive, but I got to make sure that he's still going. Just double check because those tickets are expensive and the hotel is expensive, and I can't be fronting all that money. That's why I couldn't go last year. I had to buy a computer, and that's about what I pay to go to the freaking Giants game. It's like $1,500. So between tolls and gas and food and beer and the hotel and the tickets, it's like, holy Jesus. That's adds up. It's a mortgage payment. Sweet, man. Well, I go to the Giants. Don't pay my mortgage. Just went to the Giants game. Bank
hey, no lights.
Right. The bank's like, yeah, don't worry about it. We'll give you a little lenience. Just what you spent your money on the Giants. LA Lou, thank you so much. Appreciate you, my man. Yes, all the starters are playing. I don't know how long they're going to play, but they are going to play. Daboll said all the starters will play, which I'm happy to hear because Joe Judge, I think, played those guys one series the entire year or the entire preseason last year. Like they didn't need the reps.
Well, preseason doesn't matter.
Of course it doesn't. The score doesn't matter. But preseason,
they,
especially with a new system, they really do need to get acclimated to that. Cheddarhead says going to the Packers-Niners games. Not excited about it. I don't know how much there is to get excited about preseason, but the atmosphere
I like
good.
Preseason. Like I said, I was talking to some people. I love going to preseason games because you know what? There's, to your point, the score doesn't matter. It's about watching the talent. There's no expectations to win. You want to win, but there's really no expectations to win.
Right.
And you can actually see the players that are going to be hopefully, making the 53.
Yeah. You also like to see them play against other teams, even if it is a vanilla base 4-3-3-4 defense. It's better than playing against your own guys all the time. Because like I said today in the video, Deion Jones throws interceptions like, oh man, terrible by Deion Jones, but is it a good play by the secondary? Or if the defense ain't getting any pressure on the quarterback, it's like, oh, the offensive line played great, or is it the defensive line can't get any kind of pressure? So it's like, what is good and what is bad? Because somebody has to make a good play and somebody has to make a bad play. When you're playing against each other, somebody's got to succeed, somebody's got to fail. So it's like, how do you judge what's good and what's not. So at least against New England, even if it is, like I said, not a complex defense and you're not opening up the whole playbook either, at least you're seeing guys hit each other and you're seeing guys battle for a job. And again, guys like Daniel Jones, who learning a new system, didn't get a lot of time with Kenny Golladay or Kadarius Toney last year because of all the injuries. It'll help, especially like I'm excited to see Daniel Jones work at Golladay. We need Kenny Golladay, man. If we're going to have any kind of offense, we're going to need that guy to be the receiver he was in Detroit. We paid him a lot of money, and he's going to need to score more touchdowns than you and I this year, Tim, because that's what he scored.
Hey, listen, I might have one on the 21st.
Right.
So I'm not going to say anything. You know, I'm not going to. I mean, how many series do you think they're going to go? I'm thinking two. You know? I mean, if tops. You know, and I wanted to ask you this because I was talking about this today. The Giant, you know, you break camp, you have your 53, you have your practice squad guys, and normally with the Giants and any other team, the last 2 or 3 spots on the roster are usually up for grabs, even if you make the team, because of the fact you're always scanning the waiver wire to find other talent to replace what you had. I made the comment today, and a lot of people disagree with me the other day, that I actually think that the last 7 spots on the Giants 53-man roster may be in flux after final cutdowns, because you see Shane bringing all these guys in repeatedly. And I have not seen this a lot where you have a lot of open tryouts, like almost every Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So to me, he's never been satisfied with the roster that he has. And a lot of the rosters, you know, is more towards his now, but I really do think those said that at least maybe 6 to 7 spots at the end of this roster could turn over right before, you know, right after cutdown day.
Oh, I definitely agree, especially like on the line. You know, we're thin on the line, but you could see that at wide receiver too. Like I don't think Darius Slayton's making the team. He's been out there with the threes. He's getting better now, but he's been out there with the third string guys, and he didn't play well at all. He's casing the drops as he's had over the last few years. He had a good rookie season, but dropping a lot.
He had 2 good seasons. He had a rookie season, a good sophomore. But if you don't have him on the team, who is your other true outside wide receiver?
Yeah,
you have Kenny G. You got the 6-foot Kadarius Toney, who's now taking off half the practices. You're going to put the 5'8" Wan'Dale Robinson out there.
Yeah, it would be Colin Johnson probably.
You got Colin Johnson. I know he's the blue-white scrimmage stud, but
he's a big body. I said, listen, for me, I'm like, if you're at the 7-yard line and you put Golladay and Colin Johnson out wide, and you put Rondale and Kadarius Toney in the slot with Barkley in the backfield, I'm like, you would think that the Giants could score that, like, because you'd have 2 big bodies where you could throw fades to. You'd have 2 guys that are really shifty and twitchy in the middle, where Daniel Jones could just dump it off and they could make guys miss. You could throw a screen to Saquon. You could run with Saquon, or you could run with Daniel Jones. I feel like you'd have a lot of options. And again, I mentioned Colin Johnson there. I'm not thinking Colin Johnson's going to come in here and blow it up.
1,000 yards.
But I do feel like in a package like that, he could be effective where you need 4 yards on a third down, and you could just throw it up there to a 6'6" guy, and he can come down with it. I liked him at Texas a lot, and I know that he had some injuries, and I know that he kind of fell off his senior year. And as a Sooner fan, he used to kill it. Him and Duvernay used to kill us. But I always like Colin Johnson. I would like to see him get a chance. Darius Slayton, the Giants will get $2.5 million by cutting him. He's not coming back next year.
No, he's not.
So to me, I don't think he's long for the team, to be honest, because of the cap restriction and because of the fact that I don't think he's not going to come back. So what do they really have to lose by letting him go, except for $2.5 million? Well, they gained $2.5 million,
but you still have Sterling Shepard hoping he comes back.
I don't count on it. That's big disappointment.
That's the problem, though. You have what I refer to as, you know, the old Washington Redskins Smurfs, you know, sitting out there, you know, with our 2 little guys. I guess I couldn't call them short, though. You know, the gentlemen that are not high of stature in height. And football, I'm the same height as Kadarius Toney. I don't consider myself short. I'm 6 foot tall, but yeah, that's little in the NFL. That's little in the NFL to play on the outside position.
Yeah.
It's different. And the gentleman, you know, we don't have a body of work that tells us he's going to be around for 16 games or 17 games or 14 games, because he's being limited in practice. He's been given days off multitudes of times, or afternoons off. Mm-hmm. That doesn't fill my heart with glee that he can sit there and hold up to the rigors of being, you know, that outside guy. And we talk about Daniel Jones, and I've said this before about Daniel Jones. I don't hate him. I think that, and I've said it a million times, we only win if Daniel Jones plays well.
I agree.
And if he doesn't play well, we're not going to win, because I like Tyrod Taylor, but I can't see him going 17 weeks. So it's just one of those things that everyone talks about putting the right weapons around Daniel Jones. Well, if you take away one of his outside wide receivers, and you're and the defense figures, hey, no, we're going to close this side off with Kenny, and you're going to leave that one side open, who's going to be there to catch the ball?
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's tough. Sterling Shepard has been a major disappointment for me. I was so thrilled when they picked him up. Like, what a steal. I'm like, Sterling Shepard, man, this kid catches everything. He can play outside. He can play inside. Like, I'm like, this guy at college anyway, he reminded me of Victor Cruz, because he could do, like, he wasn't the fastest straight on speed, but like if he got ahead of you, you weren't catching him. He had all the tools. And his rookie season, he did have some drops, but I think he had 66 catches, like 8 touchdowns, and he killed the Eagles all the time. And then he just couldn't stay healthy. And then he started really dropping stuff. And last year, when he was healthy, he was pretty good. I mean, he caught pretty much everything that was thrown his way. He's always had a lot of talent, but he's another guy that's just not long for this team. He's going to be gone next year. And, again, Shane is going to have a lot of decisions to make, and we'll worry about that in 2023. But, this definitely is it's a transition year. I don't want to say it's a rebuilding year, but I like Joe Shane. Pretty much came out and he's like, he didn't say it was a rebuilding year. He said, we're going to try to win, but almost, don't expect too much. This
he basically came out and said realistic expectations.
Right.
And that's what I loved about it. And that's why I said, that's why I like Shane and Dale, because as the fan base goes crazy, they're still sitting there at an even keel saying, you know what, we have to be realistic. I mean, Shane a couple of weeks ago came out and basically said, not that we're not going to be good, but he's like, there was not a lot of talent here when we got here.
Right.
And we're not going to fix that in one season, one draft.
Right. Agreed. Completely agree. Especially with the situation that he took over. He didn't have a lot to work with. He didn't get the 2 draft picks because Gettleman was able to get an extra first-round pick. So that did help him. But I've been impressed with Wan'Dale Robinson. I can't lie. Again,
I was down on Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah, like a lot of people were. But he's looked okay. But, yeah, we'll have to see what he does under the bright lights when it matters, L.A. Lou, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, my man. This is the last 7 guys are in flux because teams are looking out for the surprise final cuts around the league who can be picked up. Yeah, it's true. The Giants will get the best players that they possibly can.
But usually it's usually the last 3 spots. For anything from my experiences, even in Tampa and Miami, it's always the last 2 to 3 spots.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just think that there is going to be a larger chunk that just kind of is in flux right now. They always used to tell people, you make the 53-man roster, you're anywhere between 49 and 53. Don't unpack your bags yet.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because at that point, there may be somebody on the cut that gets cut that's better talent.
Yeah.
It's very possible, just because the team might not have enough space. Like a really good team might be like, well, this guy's pretty good, but we don't have room for him because our 53-man roster is amazing. And there's just some guys we can't keep. So it is what it is. And Shane's not going to want to keep Gettleman's guys.
Right. You're not going to keep, you want to win the guys that are your guys. You want to win with those guys.
Exactly.
You don't want to lose with someone else's guys.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Rickson, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. DJ or Gardner Minshew. Tyrod is better right now.
I'm taking the porn stash. I'm taking Gardner. I mean,
yeah. I'm not going to say Tyrod is better. I can't listen, man. I can't say, I don't know what the hell Tyrod Taylor is. What I do know is I can tell you this. Tyrod Taylor is head and shoulders better than Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon. That I can definitely tell you. And he's better than Colt McCoy. He's definitely the best backup we've had since Eli Manning. I guess. I don't know. Damien, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Says, am I late, Tim? No.
Damien's always, I mean, I'll stream for 3 hours and Damien will come in like 2 hours and 59 minutes. He'll hit that mark and show up.
He's this big shout out to Baddog. Much love. Thank you, Damien. Never late if we're still live,
That's
right?
That's right.
You're never late.
Well, people always laugh. People always laugh because they say, you always say you're going to leave and then you're on for another hour.
Right. That happens. We get talking like we're talkers. I'll tell Tim before the stream, I'll be like, we'll be on for like an hour and a half. 2.5 hours later, it's like, oh, we better get off here. Our wives are going to yell at us and we want some sleep. We're older, Cheddarhead, thank you, man. I really appreciate the generosity, brother. Cheers to you, my friend. 2007, Brandon Jacobs, Plaxico Burris broke my damn heart. 2011 was filthy defensive line and Hakeem Nicks catch at halftime. I really don't like the Giants, but I still got love for the Baddog. I appreciate you, Cheddarhead. That's one thing I can say. The Giants have always done well against the Packers. Well, you got us back in 2016. You kicked our ass.
I was going to say 16 was not a good year. It was not a good year.
We started off okay. Eli was looking like playoff Eli.
Well, he had 2 drops.
A lot of drops
in the end zone. So,
yeah, I remember telling my wife, I'm like, I think we're up 3-0. I'm like, no. I'm like, man, we should be up like 17-0, 20-0, something like that. We should be blowing these guys out. They're right there. And then Aaron Rodgers hit the Hail Mary at the end of the half. That was our season.
I don't want to say anything because, it seems he's a Packer fan, but, I am a Packer stockholder.
There you go.
Just I have that on my wall, as a Packer owner, I just like to appreciate Cheddarhead. But I like to just call him out for that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool that they sell those things. You want to talk about bucket list items. I got to get that. I would love to go to Lambeau for a game. I don't care who the hell they're playing, just to experience
that.
Yeah, like I hate the Red Sox. I'm a Yankee fan, but I absolutely love Fenway because I'm a historian of sports. Like I love the history of stuff. And does it really get any more historic than Lambeau Field when you're talking about NFL stadiums? I don't think it does. I can't think of a stadium that's more historic. Right. What's more historic than the Ice Bowl, than Vince Lombardi? What's more historic than Bart Starr, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Don Makowski, the Magic Man,
number 7.
So, yeah, man, I would love to do that. Like that Wrigley Field. I definitely got to get to a Sooner game. That has to happen. And I can tell you this, I'm definitely next year. I got to look at going to PNC Stadium in Pittsburgh. Again, I don't care who the Pirates are playing. It's like probably an hour flight, 2-hour flight from here to Pittsburgh. Just hang out there for a weekend. I can't imagine it's too expensive. I've never been to Pittsburgh. So that's something I definitely want to do next year when I'm on vacation, see if I can get the wife and the little guy to go with me. If not, I'll just take a weekend myself. They'll be going with me. I can't wait to get to Cooperstown. I think that's happening in 2 weeks. I've been waiting all summer to get to Cooperstown.
Have you been to Cooperstown before?
Oh, God, tons of times. Yeah, I'm not too far from Cooperstown. I'm like an hour away.
Oh, you're not too bad then, yeah.
Yeah, but I just haven't been there since my son was born, so it's been 5-6 years. I'm looking forward to getting back. I just told my wife, I'm like, I worry that I'll be, I want to leave. I don't like this place. He's 5.
Yeah.
Stuff. Cheddar, it says, nicest fans, the best stadium to visit as an opposing fan. Better chance of someone buying you beers than getting in an argument. I suggest any fan of any team visit Lambeau. I would love to. Because Cheddar, I can tell you this, you go to Philadelphia or New York, you got a good chance of someone throwing a beer on you. That's just the way it is.
Just don't go to a Met game. You don't want to get benched out if you're a Braves fan.
Or a Yankee game. Forget about that. That's why I don't go to Eagles games. I don't go to Philadelphia. My guy LB is always like, Baddog, you're with me. No one's messing with you. I'm like, I appreciate it. Which is true. Nobody would mess with you. He's like, Baddog, I got you. He's like, nobody's gonna mess with you and me. Don't worry about it. So maybe someday. Maybe when I'm old, they'll be like,
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. I know you live in that area.
Listen, man, you can't get a decent cheesesteak at the link, and which is you got Pat and Gino's, right down the road, not right down the road, but a couple miles away. But you can't get a decent cheesesteak. The jail isn't as nice as it was at the vet. I mean, there's just so many things. There's just so many things going on.
Steve Jones says Ryan Nassib was one of our best backups. Unfortunately, never got the chance. I remember Ryan Nassib.
Syracuse.
Yeah. Well, Davis Webb is back. So, next all we got to do is bring back Kyler Laletta.
Yeah, I mean, career statistics, 2 rushes for -3 yards after victory formation last year. So that's
pretty much what Jake Fromm had. To Jake Fromm had against Washington, I think, the game of the season. He might have actually got positive yards.
I think he got positive yards.
Have you ever seen anything like that in your life?
Yes. Pop Warner.
Okay.
I think I was 9 or 10, and we didn't do it on purpose. It was the only play we had.
Right.
But that was everyone knows how much of a big fan I was of Joe Judge. I mean, I hated him from after the press conference.
Yeah.
And I made no bones about it for 2 years that he shouldn't be an NFL head coach. I mean, and people talk about he got himself fired by what he said after the season and everything else. It was to me, it was what was on the field and happening those final games, even with the bad quarterback, that
terrible.
You no longer look like an NFL franchise.
No, it was a joke. It was a clown show. It really was. I don't know why. It was definitely a clown show, without a doubt. It was a joke. The last four games are so bad that you had to laugh. Like, I remember doing that last game with Chris talking about the roll of toilet paper was the freaking play, but I couldn't believe it. I was playing circus music and I'm like, this is just, what is this? The Jake Fromm did throw a touchdown. It was just to the wrong team.
But it still counts, right?
It did. I said
that's counted as 6, man. You got to take what you can get.
Yeah. Junior, how can I be the man when you're the man? Look at that handsome face on that thumbnail right there. Yeah, that's a thing of beauty right there. Is there anybody in training camp that you think could really, like, may not be on the radar, that you think could jump up and surprise people? Because you've been to training camp. Like, I haven't been there, so I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's everyone wants to talk about Yusuf Corker because of the fact that he had the interception off the deflection.
Right.
And I find it interesting that he's a guy that he's an undrafted free agent. And if you look at his body of work from college, he's not a coverage guy. But he doesn't play. He's an in the box safety, and he's an in the box strong safety. And you have Xavier McKinney playing that free safety position. You're probably gonna have the Julian Love and everyone else mixed in. But as if you go back and watch the history of Wink's defense, Corker could actually have a role as that in the box safety as a rookie. Maybe he plays 40% of the snaps, maybe he plays 45% of the snaps. But it's a guy that everyone was talking about after we signed him. Everyone kind of forgot about him until that interception off the deflection, but now his name seems to be coming up. And like I said, if you use him like we used Peppers before he left, and most people don't understand that when Peppers and Logan Ryan were on the team those 2 years, they were playing in the box almost 65% of the plays.
Yeah,
they were basically quasi linebackers, and that's kind of what I think. If you want to, if Corker keeps working this way, that he could turn around and maybe fill that role, because he's not a big body guy either. He's not like he's just he's not like he's 6'4", 255.
Right.
But he's a thumper. He's a guy that knows how to proficiently, in my opinion, tackle. He understands the tackling technique, and I think he would just be interesting. Maybe like I said, maybe in a substitutional way that we could bring him in maybe on first and second downs and take him out on passing downs.
Right. Daniel Bellinger. Does he have a big role? What do you think? What do you think he could do? Like, now I know the Bills' offense was not big in the tight ends as far as like offensive weapons, but I know a lot of people, but I haven't looked at the unofficial.
He is the starting tight end on the unofficial depth chart. Yes,
right.
He is. Which means that and $1.50 get you $1.50.
Yeah.
Or technically that and $1.50 get you $1.49. But I forgot about inflation.
Don't forget about inflation.
But I mean, Bellinger, he's one of
those. Tooth Fairy Tim was inflated my son's tooth. So
did he get? Hopefully you gave that to him.
I did. He did get the $10.
Okay.
He did. He says to me, he goes, no lie, my son. I wasn't there when he woke up. I had to go to work, and he comes out. He's like, he shows me $10. I said, "Where'd you get that?" He said, "The Tooth Fairy." I go, "You got $10?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Man, I didn't get $10. I got $1 when I was." He goes, "Is that because I'm really cute?" I said, "Yes." I said, "You are really cute," but I said that's inflation. $1 was the going rate in 1982. Not that he understood what the hell I was saying.
That's why I gave him 10. Because I used to get a quarter.
Yeah.
So I extrapolated it over a certain period of time and came up with $10.
Yes. You're the man. I appreciate that. But yes, he did get $10. It was actually pretty funny. It was pretty good. So, you went to FanFest. Well, I asked Chris.
I didn't go to FanFest.
Oh, you didn't go to FanFest.
I actually hurt my leg as some certain people know. So I have a bad knee, and I was saving some children in a river before I took them to the dialysis machine. That's how I hurt my knee. Because I'm not gonna tell people I slipped on a dog bone. But I was unable to go to.
No, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know that has happened that day or before. But I know you were mentioning going to fan.
Yeah, I was going until that happened. Until I was laying on the floor.
Mike Gorga says in 1953, it was a dime.
Mike would know.
Mike would know.
Would know.
We got Mike. I don't see the imp. The imp usually comes. Well, he's maybe not in these, but like during the game, we got the imp. We got Mike Gorga. Chris's dad comes in. So we do have some guys that are around my dad. Well, God rest my dad's soul, but what my dad would be in his late 60s. So I always appreciate that.
No,
I love the fact that there's kids in there that are 16, 17 years old that have never seen the Giants win. And then there's guys that were alive to see, the 56 championship and Amici breaking their hearts in 58 and all that other stuff. I think it's cool that there's that wide of a range of Giants fans. And I also think it's amazing that, again, it speaks volumes to this fan base that as bad as we've been for 5 years, you're constantly seeing new content creators come out and do Giants football. The chats are always lit up. There's always guys in here talking about the Giants, excited about the Giants, watching videos, commenting on the videos. And it's easy to have people excited or supporting you when your team is good. Like Eagles fans have it easy right now.
Yeah.
Cowboys fans have it easy right now. But with the Giants fans, I say it all the time. I'm like, wait till we're good. Wait till we're 12-5. Wait until we're knocking on the door of a Super Bowl. Wait till we're making a run into the playoffs. Wait till you see the fan base then. Wait, it'll be awesome.
It was like the Knicks when they actually made the playoffs 2 years.
Right.
Remember, how many people really knew MSG from the 90s?
Right.
When you had Patrick Ewing and you had the Rangers and you had everything else going on that summer. I mean, how many people really knew that or were a part of that? I mean, it's going to be fun. Hopefully it's going to be fun.
Yeah. That was a fun year. The Knicks should have won it all. The Rangers did. The Yankees had the best record in the American League before the strike. So the Giants were 9-7. Man, Dave Brown was quarterbacking us back then. So
he went.
They were 9-7. Were they 9-7 in 94? Yeah, they were 9.
Yeah,
they started off 3. They won their first 3, lost their next 7, finished winning the last 6.
Yeah.
Very interesting year.
It was an interesting. I got a question for you, man.
Yes.
You don't have to answer it, but I'm going to bring it up anyways because you brought up content creators, and I know I got a lot of questions about, I guess, a video from Fisk Vegas, calling you out. In regards to,
I had Fisk come on my channel.
Yeah, I know you had him on the show. I know, and I didn't get a chance to see it. I did want to see it, but I mean, was there true animosity between you guys in reference to Daniel Jones? Or I always call it content creator shtick, where people are getting the likes, the bleaks, and the boops, and they just make stuff to put out to get a rise out of someone to help themselves in the analytics.
I can say this. When I made the Jones sound, I definitely was not talking about Cop Pizzle or Fisk. I was talking about, I have it on my Instagram. Like I took a screenshot of one of the comments that says, "Where's Baddog's Daniel Jones?" Because I got out of work late that day. Where's Daniel Jones? Where's Daniel Jones? I guess it was too positive for him to make a video. And I got because he had a good practice. So I had like 3 IM or DMs in my Twitter. Where's Daniel Jones? You want to talk about Daniel Jones? I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you people? Like, I work. Like, I have a job. Like, I'll get to the video when I get to the video. I'm not going to be like, I had a good day. I'm not going to do a video. So I did that. And then that night they had their show. And somebody came into my stream the day after, whenever it was. They streamed it already. We were streaming at the same time, something. Guys, like they were talking about you. So I went back and I watched it. And I said, I'm like, enough. I said, enough. So I looked at the camera and I said, I'm calling you out, Fisk. I said, anytime, any place. I go on your channel, you come on my channel. We're going to talk about this Daniel Jones thing. We're going to talk about it. I went to his to the video. I said, have me on your show next week. I DM'd him on Twitter. I said, let's go. Let's talk about the Daniel Jones thing. I don't think there was any animosity, but I was like, if you're going to say my name, let's just have it out. And if Fisk, listen, I've never had a problem with Fisk. I've never had a problem with him. We don't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff, but we just have opposing, views, especially on Daniel Jones. But I thought the debate was great. We were both very passionate in our stances on Daniel Jones, but no animosity. I mean, it's not like I'm like, oh, this guy or whatever. There's no animosity. I think there's a lot of respect. It's just we do not agree. We polar opposites when it comes to like he will defend Daniel Jones to the teeth, and if he throws 7 incompletions, I'm gonna be all over him like a pit bull on a poodle, and that's just the way it is. So no, definitely no animosity there, but I do like a good debate, and that was a good debate. I felt like we had a really good debate there. Yeah, no animosity. I have no animosity towards any content creator. I always say if you have the balls to come on here and give your opinion, to give your views, knowing that content creators could say something about you or people in the chat are going to, because not everybody's going to agree with you. So somebody's always going to say, you're stupid. You don't know anything about football. You're delusional. You're negative. You're a hater.
Get out of my chat. Why are you in my comment section?
Yeah,
What's wrong with you?
So I always have respect, whether I agree with the content creator or not. I always have respect for the guys that come out and do their thing. Like I said, I may not agree with their content, and if I don't or I don't like it, I don't watch it. But I'm not going to come out and be like, I'm not going to talk about them. That's just not what I do. I'd rather concentrate on what I'm doing here than worry about what they're doing there. That's just the way I look at stuff. But so no animosity.
I was just curious because it's one of those things that I always seem to get myself in trouble, and I don't know how I do it because the fact that I just say what I have to say, and then people are like, "Well, you're taking a shot at me, or you're rebuttaling me, or this," and it's like I don't watch. I mean, besides you, I don't really watch anyone. I'll watch a couple of the videos here and there, and I always laugh though because it's like I don't have a problem with anybody. I mean, I'm too old to.
That's the way I look at it.
Like, I wouldn't have a full head of hair if I had problems with people.
I don't have a full head of hair, and I still don't have problems with people. So it's good. It's good. I have a 5-year-old kid. That's most important to me.
Right, exactly. I have my family, and that at the end of the day, I've always said if I stop doing this, then I stop doing it. Yeah. Because probably more than likely I got something else going on in my actual life. And I think some people don't get, to the point you were making, you're at work.
Yeah.
You have a job.
Right. That's
you're not
the thing.
Sometimes that damn work makes you not be able to do things that you want to do.
I know it sucks. I'm like, I wish I'm like, God bless the people that can do YouTube full time. I wish I could, or I wish I was, old enough to be retired. I think that'd be fun. I got probably got 12 to 15 years, and I can be. It seems like a long time, but it'll be done real fast.
Right before you know it.
And then I can be on here every day, and then. Well, Daniel Jones probably won't be around, but the next Giants quarterback will be around that isn't good, and then I can make videos about them all the time.
Listen, if Daniel Jones is still here in 12 years, I would probably be happy.
I'll be very happy he's here.
Because something right happened.
If Daniel Jones is here when I'm retired, I'll love it because we'll be good again. We will definitely be good again, for sure. Timothy, thank you for the double $2. Boom! Timothy always comes up with the.
Where's the trade?
I was gonna say,
where's the trade? Where's the trade? I mean, if I see Timothy, the first thing I think of is who am I trading for a first round pick to Cleveland?
Right, to Chicago or whatever. Yes, I agree. But yeah. What the hell I was gonna ask you? So we talked about Fan Fest. You weren't able to make it there, but have you been to a Fan Fest? Like, I don't know, because up in Albany, they didn't have Fan Fest. They had like fan appreciation.
You know what? I talk about this because I used to stay in Troy, New York, and we used to, I'd go up for a week, and I always talk about it. I've told the story about how I hung out in the
neck of the woods because I'm not too far from Troy.
Yeah, how I hung out with LeVar Arrington on the fence after an evening practice. It's so different than what training camp used to be.
Yeah, I say that because they're like. I've had people say if you're under 12, they don't autograph, and they don't. Like,
I've seen
far away from you, like you can't go up to them. I'm like, man, when you were up here, they walked right down that. You were stood on the rickety ass fence. They walked past you to get to the field. There was one. Well, there was a couple exits. Eli always found the other exit, so he wasn't mauled. But yeah, they really did a lot. I always tell guys, a lot of them guys are really nice. Strahan was an ass, but most of them are very cool. Tom Coughlin was very, very well towards the end. He was very nice.
Yeah, he changed a little bit.
He did change. I just Kerry Collins was a nice guy. Jeremy Shockey, Tiki Barber, Charles Way, Monty Toomer. The list goes on and on and on and on. Strahan was not nice.
No. But you know what? You also remember, especially after the evening, because people forget you had a morning
2 days back then.
You had an afternoon practice. You had an evening practice. So it's 6:45, 7 o'clock, and they're coming off. I can understand when guys don't want to talk, and I've said that before because I've been there. Not at a professional level, but I've been there where you just want to get in the locker room, you want to get everything off, and just.
This could be after the afternoon. He hated training camp. He hated it. Hated training camp. But most of them were cool. Jacobs was cool. My Bradshaw was cool. They all signed. They all talked. I remember having this talk with Brian Keel, like a second or third string linebacker for
I remember Brian Keel.
20 minutes. It was really cool. Zach Diassi, when my nephew was like 5, I remember he was on this side of the fence and my nephew was on the other side. He just kept saying, Zach, Zach, Zach. So Zach Diassi comes over to him. And he just says, hey, I want to have my picture taken with you. My nephew was 5 at the time. He's like, now my nephew freaking graduated high school. That's how fast 13 years goes by. He's 18 now. So he's like, I want to have my picture taken with you. So he gives him the helmet, the gloves, and then he just puts his hand on his head, and it's a nice picture. 2 years later, was it 2 years? 3 years later, because this was 2009 when he was 5. We went last year, which was 2012. Was the last year. They're giving away the Terrell Thomas shirts. So T2 shirts. Too bad what happened to Terrell Thomas. I love Terrell Thomas. He was one of my favorite players. And Zach Diassi walks right up to him. Now, my nephew was playing football at the time, had his number like shaved into his head. He walks right up to him like he knows him. He goes, I want to get my picture with you. And he just puts his hand on his head. He goes, what's your number? And so we had that picture too. So my wife, because she's good at this stuff, she had a picture of him when he was 5 with Zach Diassi, and then when he was 8, and she had it made up into like an 8x10, and he was kind of walking away, not really signing autographs, and she like put it up there, and he's like, yes, I will sign that, because that was really cool. So I always remember that. Like, I always remember little things like that. You know, and Weatherford was a really nice guy. There's just certain guys that really, Justin Tuck was a really nice guy.
Nice guy. Yeah, I actually talked to
certain guys that really stood out to me. A lot of them Victor Cruz is a very nice guy.
I didn't get to talk to Victor Cruz. That I would have liked. That I would have enjoyed. But
I didn't get to talk to him. I remember him walk about. Now it's raining this day. I have a mini helmet, and his name is pretty much with the silver Sharpie was not sticking to a wet helmet. Right. The woman kept saying, "Do the salsa, Victor. Do the salsa." I'm like, he's gonna walk away, but he kept going down. He signed my helmet. I'm like, do you mind if I get a picture? He's like, absolutely not. Right. So posted a picture, and he just goes away. I'm like, that was really cool. He didn't have to do that. And then I always tell the story that Corey Webster signed my helmet. I'm like, hey, Corey, can I get a picture of you? He's like, yeah, but man, I got you. And then he's like, I just got to go over here and sign this. He never came back. He never came back. And then his career was over. And I said, don't ever diss the Baddog. I'm like, who the hell wants a picture of Corey Webster? What the hell?
James Williams says that's his player. That's James Williams' guy. Corey Webster. Oh yeah.
I loved Corey Webster.
So did I.
C Web 23. I was a big fan of Corey Webster. Not after that day. I said, just say no. Don't lie to me. I don't have time. Okay. I got to get in. I got to get back in the locker room. Okay. Yeah. Don't say, I'll be right back. I just got to go over here for a minute. Yeah, sure you do.
I got to go talk to that guy over there. I'll be right back. I got to talk to the guy about the thing. But
I got to go.
And I don't think fans, like the younger fans, don't get it, because this literally was, I remember it clearly. It's a 3.5-foot green fence.
Yes.
And it's
rickety old piece of crap.
You could literally fall over it.
You definitely could.
And you had everyone hanging on the fence. And it was just, I've been to Fan Fest before. I've taken my son to Fan Fest. And I mean, we had, we had a good time there. But we got autographs. You got Chris Need's autograph. We got a bunch of other people's, and everyone was really nice, but you had to go up, of course, and wait in line to do it. And then we went towards the end where you're basically there. I always say it's like in the circus, because the guys are all just in the one area in the middle and everyone's around them, and it's like a fight. And at that time, my son, I think it was 8, and we're fighting against 40-year-olds to get autographs. And I think that's why it changed a little bit. But I mean, it's bad that we don't have that. Fans don't have that experience anymore. Where you just went to training camp, you could randomly pick a day and say, you know what, I'm gonna go watch the Giants play.
Yep.
And like I said, just stand by the fence.
It was awesome. You could go out in the parking lot. They'd be out in the parking lot. If you wanted to see them after hours, you just had to go to Carlos. They were always at the strip club.
Yeah.
The Carlos are shenanigans every time.
I have no idea what you're referring to.
There's no poppycockers up here.
There's no poppycockers.
So they had to go to the Carlos, and they had to go to Double Vision, or they had to go to shit. Not that I know where the gentlemen. I know where those are. But I was young.
Looking for the VIP card as well.
I have no idea what the hell those were when I was 20 years old, in '96 when they started up here. But I also always joke around about, since they left, the Giants are here from '96 to 2012. They haven't been good since 2012. So, hello.
Training camp curse.
Giants organization, SUNY Albany, 2 weeks. Tom Coughlin, when they had that complex built down there, Coughlin still brought them up here for 2 weeks to get them the hell out of the city. Now, granted, yes, their sleeping arrangements were terrible. They slept in dorms.
Oh, it was terrible. It was anyone that knows where they were. I mean, it was not.
No, it's not. It's a state campus. It's not the nicest place. But the reason that they left wasn't so much because of the sleeping arrangements. It's because they went to one-a-days, and if practice got rained out, they didn't practice, and you couldn't make the practice up. So down there, obviously, it's covered, or they can do it indoors or whatever it is, and they don't need to worry about it. They can always get the practice in. But that was the biggest reason they left Albany, was because, and then there was obviously some funding issues or whatever. They talked about building a dome for them up here. It never happened. Sucks. I would take 3 weeks off. I'd save all my vacation.
Yep.
And I would take those 3 weeks off, and I'd go up there every day.
I would go every day for a week. I mean, not every day. I would go once, just for an entire week. Like I said, it was the residence in Marriott Residence in Troy, New York.
Yeah.
And then
why Troy? Why would you stay in Troy?
Because my friend was working at the hotel.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. That's like the worst. That's like the armpit of the capital region, to Troy. No.
I always see it the best places.
No offense to anybody out there that lives in Troy. But
you can send all comments to Baddog at baddog@gmail.com.
It's right in the description. NFL experts say, you brother, I appreciate it. He says it's really funny how Baddog and Tim don't realize we're all in a stupid big argument with an Eagles fan in the chat.
I've actually been watching it.
Oh,
I don't know what the argument's about, but I've been watching.
Yeah, listen, the Eagles fans are what they are. You just have to accept they're special people. I don't know what else to say. I mean, what do you expect from an Eagles fan? I'm not really. I mean, I'm looking at the chat somewhat, but I mean, I always trust the judgment of my mods. I don't have a lot of mods, and I always feel like the mods are really good. One thing I'll say, NFL experts, is this. I don't like people getting hidden from my chat unless they're being racist, which I don't put up with. If they're spamming like crazy, like if they're just spamming, like somebody comes in and is like, hi, like 50 times in a row, they can be gone too because they're not doing anything productive. Or they're threatening people. If they're just talking crap, I'll let them talk. But I always trust my mods' judgment. There's a lot of Eagles fans that come in the chat. But
I would say Eagle fan. You know what? I've had a bunch come in doing the live streams, and really no one's ever been like, too disrespectful. And besides they're Eagle fans, they can't spell very well. Right. So I never know exactly what they're talking about. So it's all
Thomas Gitlin says, I'm from Troy, but you're not wrong.
I saw Rangers 11 gave a big shout out to Troy, New York.
Yeah. I mean, no offense. It's just not the nicest. I used to bowl at Uncle Sam's in Troy. So Troy Cahoes. It's not one of elite. They're not the nicest. I mean, there's bad places everywhere. You go to Schenectady, Albany, there's bad places. There's not really bad place up in Saratoga where I live. I can't think of like a place where it's like, yeah, don't go there.
A lot of places in Troy.
Yeah, definitely Troy. Like I said, Troy, one of elite. It's the Albany, Schenectady. Yeah, Colony is not like that, but That's why I was surprised because they trained in Colony. So I was surprised that you didn't stay there. But
when the hotel was free.
Tim, can you hold down the chat for a little bit? I have to pee. Like this is just part of me being old and having to go to the bathroom all the time. So
I have a bucket, so it makes it easier.
I need a bucket. Somebody says for my 24-hour stream, I need a bucket. I'll be right back, guys. Tim's got you for 40 seconds.
For 40 seconds, because evidently he's gonna leave. He's gonna leave us, guys. Because you know what? So we're just gonna take over the show. So what everyone needs to do right now is just unsubscribe to Baddog and jump over to my channel and subscribe. Of course, that is Tim from Online Big Blue. I see a lot of friendly faces sitting out here in the chat, and I really do appreciate everyone from my channel. It subscribes both our channels together. I see Damian Jackson always sitting out there. I see the big James Williams holding down for the Fort Afghanistan baby. Oh yeah, it's one of these things, guys, that I sit here and I think about this season, and I've mentioned this a million times. At the end of the day, like I said, I canceled my season tickets 2 years ago, and I had to repay the PSLs to just for this season. And I've said it a million times. I don't think this season's going to be any better. I mean, I think it's going to be a 5-win season. And I think that it's going to, thank you, Wolfie, for calling Tim. Tim is the legend. Of course, Big Mo, the channel is Online Big Blue Sports. But I think it's going to be a fun season because of the fact that it's a growth opportunity. It's an opportunity to see what the potential talent could be. And now we got to stop talking about Baddog here because I thought he was an ass, but oh shit, he's back already.
I'm back already. 40 seconds. Anybody counted off in the chat?
It was 38 seconds.
38 seconds. I'm faster than I thought I was. That's what she said.
That's my button.
Is it?
Yeah, I always have that's what she said. I mean, we have the multitudes of the soundboards here. So I mean, people are always like, we like your channel because of the sound effects. Yeah. I said, because sometimes I need to take a drink of water, so that's what the sound effects are for.
I gotcha. Irish Mike says, I love Saratoga. I thought you were out Buffalo or Syracuse. No, I live in Saratoga County. Yeah, I'm in the 518. Shout out to the 518. Got a lot of guys in the 518. Actually, I went to, I tell a story as a young man. I don't know if he's in the chat. I talked to him on Instagram, but we're in a Cracker Barrel, and I went there Mother's Day. And I took my wife out, my son, and I don't know. This must have happened. I mean, people must recognize you at some point.
Yes.
It's not like people are knocking down my door to get to me, but when you're out in public, somebody notices you and says, "Hey, are you Tim from YouTube or you're Online Big Blue Sports from YouTube?" Like, what? How do you respond? Like for me, I'm always extremely humbled that anybody would take time to say hello to me. But how does that make you feel? What do they say to you? Like, what do they say to you? Because I'll tell you what I get a lot when they.
I laugh because in the beginning I didn't do any live stream, so no one ever knew what I looked like. And I was actually in a supermarket, and I was talking on the phone, and someone was following me, and I'm like, "What the hell? Why is this guy following me?" I said, "Is he going to kill me in the aisle?" And then I hung up, and he goes to me, "Are you on YouTube?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Are you Tim from Online Big Blue?" And I said, "Yes, I am." He goes, "You suck." And I looked at him, and yes, swear to God. And I looked at him and I said, "What?" He goes, "You're terrible." And he goes, "But I listen to you every video you put out." Because he goes, "I hate your guts. But what you say at the end of the day, after I think about it or a week gets by, I'm like, damn, that MRF is right." And so there is, I mean, I can think of maybe like in total, like 5 instances where people recognize me, and most of them were at Giant games.
Yeah.
So, and everyone's been real cordial. Everyone's been really nice. And I always think it's weird when people are like, "Well, can I take a picture with you?" I'm like,
yeah, that I have not had.
Like, what? It's like, first of all, why?
Yeah.
Because, not that I don't know.
I've not had anybody ask for a picture yet, but, Joe, thank you for the super chat, brother. I appreciate you. He says, Commanders fan, I'm one of Louis T's boys. Love your channel. Go Yankees. Joe, let's go Yankees, baby. Let's go Yankees. And thank you for swinging by, my man. I appreciate it very much. Care Pharmacy and Surgicals. Thank you, brother. Really appreciate the super chat. Thank you for the compliment. He says, I like both of you. You are unbiased and speak realistically. We try.
Yep.
That's all we can do at the end of the day. So I think why Tim and I get along so well, old school guys that we agree on a lot of points. Some things we're going to disagree on, but at the end of the day, it's we're labeled as haters because you're negative, but we haven't really had anything positive to talk about the last 5 years, so it's difficult.
But even when you're positive, even when I say something positive about Daniel Jones, it always, and I love it because people will be like, well, I did a video a couple times where I say, you know what? He had a good game in New Orleans. He had a good game here, and he did this, and you can't fault a guy for throwing for 400 yards. And I said, you have to give him his credit and his due, for doing that. And then people are like, well, you hate him. It's like, I just did 10 minutes on how well he played. How do I still hate him? Or I say, we don't win unless Daniel Jones plays well. People are like, well, you hate him. Well, I just said we don't win without him. I mean, it's funny. I think I've told you this before. I could do a 15-minute video on Daniel Jones. 13 minutes of it could be complimentary, and then like a minute and a half is just an unbiased opinion, and then you're automatically labeled as a hater.
Right. Yeah, it's funny. To go back to like people, that's usually what I get is, are you Baddog? That's usually what I get. Are you Baddog? I'm like, yes, I am. And I've never had anybody tell me that I suck. They're usually very nice. They're like, oh,
it was a great Tuesday. I remember what they
they're like, I'm a big fan. I love what you do. The young man at Cracker Barrel was very nice. He's like, I just wanted to come over and say hi. He's like, I don't want to bother you. I mean, the kid he's in high school. Right. And I'm like, the kid's working. He's very well mannered. I'm like, but it's always like when they first come to, like, I don't know what to say because I'm kind of taken back. Like, why would anyone weird that people recognize me? Yeah. You know what I mean? And then guy in the grocery store, same thing. He said, are you Baddog from YouTube? I said, I am. And then we started talking about the Giants for like 10 minutes. Then I was in a card shop a couple of weeks ago, and a guy kept walking by me and like looking at me. And he looked at me again. And then he goes, do you have a podcast on YouTube? I said, I do. He goes, you're Baddog. I said, yes. He goes, I knew I recognized the voice. And he goes, I watch you and Chris all the time. He goes, I watch Chris more than you, but I love your show. I'm like, it's all good. And he goes, what are you doing up here? I said, well, it's a card shop. I'm here all the time. Right. And he's like, really? I'm like, oh, I don't live in the city. He's like, oh, I thought you lived down there. I was like, why'd you come over? I'm like, no, I live up north. I live a little north of here. No, I'm like, I love this card shop. I don't know if I drive 3 hours to get here, but no. So, yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I know Chris has told me, he's like, the next time you go to a Giants game, he goes, you're probably going. A lot of people are probably going to know.
And it's like I said, it was the last Giant game I went to, last preseason game actually, and it was just weird because you're just kind of like walking through the parking lot, and most people automatically, I guess, recognize, or most people I talk recognize me from my voice. Right. Because like I said, I didn't do a lot of, I didn't until recently started doing live streams and stuff. And people are, and everyone's been great. Everyone's been wonderful about it. But that's always the big question. Or people ask me about something that I said, and usually it's about Daniel Jones.
Right.
So it's just like,
right.
But everyone's, it's just, it's just weird because it's like, I'm just a dummy with a mic.
That's where I look at it. I'm like,
you want to talk to me?
I'm just a guy that rants and raves and everything else on YouTube. But I always say that's part of my charm is the post game rants. And, the one thing I always tell people about when I do that, or they're like, I love your rants. I'm like, and I tell my wife all the time, it's because they know it's genuine.
It's like genuine. It's not fake.
It's not fake. I mean, I got guys all the time, like the Yankees lose a game, like, can we get a rant? Can we get a rant? I'm like, I'm not gonna rant just to rant. I'm like, I do that when I'm mad. Like the Yankees have been playing bad for a month, and for a long time I put it off. Like, they'll get it together. And then they lost, got swept by the Cardinals, and I still wasn't really mad to the point that I get mad, right. But I was not happy at the same time. Like they're starting to, I said, they're starting to aggravate me now. They're starting to tick me off a little bit. So with the Giants, every game, it's okay. Yeah. Every game means so much with the Giants. So, the equivalent of one NFL game is 10 baseball games. So losing one NFL game is like losing 10 straight baseball games. You're going to be mad at your team loses 10 straight. You lose 2 or 3 straight. It's like, oh, come on. You lose 10 in a row. It's like, what the?
There's an issue. I see something in the chat I want to address because Because, I'm going to hit this number very soon. 100,000. 100,000 subs. You're closing in. You're hitting that mild mark. Now, my question is, are you feeling that's more for the Giants or more for the basketball or more just everything combined? Because, that's a big number.
I definitely think it's half and half.
Okay.
I definitely think it's half and half. There's no doubt the basketball grew the channel a lot because it's a global
right. Thing. It's a global thing. Yeah.
I got people from all over the place. I'm always impressed the amount of countries that people watch for the Giants. Ireland, Italy, Australia, obviously the UK, France, Greece. I'm like, real. I'm like, that's awesome. We had a guy from, I forgot, he was from the Middle East. Yeah. But with basketball, it is every country you could think of. There's guys in Mexico, Canada, the Philippines, Taiwan, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Trinidad and Tobago, the Bahamas. I mean, it's everywhere. It's insane. I've had guys from Greenland in the chat, France, Italy, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, it's Iraq. It's insane. So yeah, it's definitely because that's global. It reaches, basketball is a more global sport. So I think it reaches a much bigger audience. And when I started doing that, I never in a million years thought that would be a big thing. I just like calling basketball games. Yeah, I just like calling basketball games. It was fun for me. And I really never thought. I remember telling Chris, I said, when everybody's doing Monday night football and Thursday night football, I'm just going to do the Lakers. I'm just going to do the Lakers this year. I bought the package in 2018. They didn't make the playoffs. So I'm like, somebody called me LakerDog because the Lakers, I started doing, well, this is really how this happened. This is LA Lou. Shout out to LA Lou for getting me this hat. I'm the LakerDog. I'll be back in October. I was doing things wrong. I was trying to build my YouTube channel. I was doing YouTube. I was scheduling my life around YouTube. Right. I had that backwards. I said, I can't do that. I stopped going to the gym. I had my priorities screwed up because I found live streaming and I loved it. I love calling games. And then I said, I can't do it. So what I started doing was just doing late games after they went to sleep, which is why now, like every time I live stream with you or anybody, it's like, can we do it 9:45, 10 o'clock? It just works better for me. I'll forego the sleep, but I want to spend some time with my wife and my son. The Lakers just happen to be on ESPN or NBA TV or whatever a lot. And somebody's like, LakerDog. And I was like, you know what? I'm like, why don't I just buy the NBA package and just focus on the Lakers? I'm just going to focus on them.
Right, just on the one
and
side.
Then the next, the first full year I did them, they won a championship. And that was kind of took off from there. But there was big crowds, and I'm like, well, this is crazy. So it just kind of caught on. And the Giants crowds are very big too. So definitely I would say I think it's 50-50.
What are you going to do with the button?
Well, we'll see if I ever get the button. YouTube doesn't do me many favors. They did, and you can ask any. I don't know if this happens to you. Philly 500, every video says hit the subscribe button if you like the content, and if you haven't subscribed for a while, just make sure you're still subscribed. He just says that every video because YouTube just and 10 subscribers gone, 15 subscribers gone. You can ask my mods because I have an IG chat. I would complain like they just took 32 subscribers away from me. They just took 16 subscribers away from me. Every night I go to bed, it's one number. Every night I wake up, every morning I wake up, it's a different number. I'm like, what is going on? That happened in the last 2 days. Between the last 2 days, they've taken 32 subscribers away from me. I'm like, why does this keep happening? So, we'll
I have to say that no one ever unsubscribed from my channel.
No one ever what?
No one ever unsubscribes from my channel.
People do it to me all the time. I guess I don't know if people do it. YouTube does it for me.
Oh, please. I got people doing it. I don't need YouTube's help.
Honestly, though, I would imagine, I'm hoping by the end of September we get to 100,000. I'm thinking football season will push.
I think you probably get pushed over the edge.
And I don't know. I mean, I have a premiere video planned. There's a lot of things I want to talk about, and I really don't know what I'm going to do with the button. I think it's cool. I never thought I'd achieve this. I obviously will never get a gold one. We're not going to get 1 million subscribers, but it would be cool just to say, hey, man, look, I did this. I never thought I would. The sporting community is a very, very small.
It's very niche.
Yeah, niche on YouTube. So to get to that level, I think it's pretty cool. I worked hard, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I really don't. Put it somewhere, probably just stick it over there. I'm not going to hang it on the wall or anything. I'll probably just put it next to my picture frame of me from, I don't know, my mom made that for me. There's a bunch of pictures of when I was all different ages. A year old, 20 years old. Pretty funny.
55 years old.
Not quite there yet, but
that's my thing. But you know, I want to get back to the Giants for a second because we've been pontificating about other things. And I don't always get a chance to, you know, to drop in and say hello and everything. So I always get it when I get a different perspective, because no one ever wants to collab with me. So it's okay.
I want to collab with you.
I'll get over it. But you know, you have mentioned before, we talked briefly about the defense in the beginning of the video, or the beginning of the stream. And we've seen them go against the Giants offense and the Giants offensive line, the depleted Giants offensive line. Yes. And I was watching the movie We Are Marshall last night, actually, with McConaughey, you know, the whole Marshall thing. And they put the team on the field, and at one point in time, he's looking at the offensive line that's getting beat like a drum. And he looks at his coach and says, I'm not sure if they're just that bad or if the defense is that good. Because he goes, I don't even think the defensive line's that good, you know?
Right.
And I kind of think that, are we getting maybe a little bit ahead of ourselves in reference to Kayvon Thibodeau and maybe others, because of the fact that maybe, you know, anyone that's been to two-a-days, anyone that played will understand, you know, you're going up against the same guys daily. You learn everyone else's tendencies. Yes. You know what's going on. It's a pre-planned practice at times. And sometimes the defense is going to look a lot better than the offense is going to look. But I just get concerned that maybe, you know, Kayvon Thibodeau talks about getting a sack a game, you know, about winning the NFC East this year. And I just get worried that maybe the offensive line isn't as good as we think, because we're going up against, the defensive line isn't as good as we think, because we're going up against our offensive line, which is as Andrew Thomas and 4 new starters.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I definitely agree, because you don't even need to just look at training camp. I mean, look at Chase Young's rookie season, and then look at Chase Young since. I mean, Chase Young looked like the next coming of Reggie White over there, right? And then all of a sudden,
we lost the Chase Young ball.
Right. We lost that. He had a really good rookie season. Nothing since. So he had a great entire season and he fell off. I'm glad that Washington fans were like, oh, he's Reggie White. He's Reggie White. Because we all know that Cowboy fans are like, oh, Michael Parsons is the next LT. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
If you think that, then you're doing more white pony than LT was. Okay. So
that's a lot.
Yeah. So, so obviously this is just camp. It's hard to read into what Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be. I want to see him against a real NFL defense. Right. But what I will say is I do believe that guys like Thibodeau and Azeez Ojulari and the defense can play off of one another, which is why I think that your guy, king of the almost sack, might actually have some sacks, because it's going to be difficult for them to just load up and get him. Or Dexter Lawrence. I thought that was a guy that I picked to take a big step up, and he's had a great camp. Dexter Lawrence has. So I think the way Wink runs his defense, I think all of these guys can be productive. I don't know if there'll be a dominant, one dominant guy. If there was, I think it would be Azeez Ojulari. He's been in the league. He had a great rookie season, and now he's going to have Thibodeau on the other side. And you have Wink's aggressive defense. I think Azeez Ojulari can make a Pro Bowl this year.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And have double-digit sacks. I would love Thibodeau to have 16 sacks, 17 sacks. That'd be amazing. But I'm not counting on it. I'm just hoping that, like I said, Wink Martindale's defense as a whole can get some pressure on the quarterback, because we really haven't, outside of Leonard Williams, who gets pressure but can't bring the quarterback down. It would be nice to get guys that can get there and bring the quarterback down. So I don't know what to. I expect him to have a good year. He was the 5th overall pick in the draft, but I'm not about to sit here and go, he's going to have a Micah Parsons type. I don't expect that. Micah Parsons I'm not taking anything away from Micah Parsons. He had an amazing year. I wanted them to draft Micah Parsons. I loved him out of Penn State. I actually mentioned when I talked about drafting him how I said I'm not comparing him to Lawrence Taylor, but he's like the same size as Lawrence Taylor was. And he had a great rookie season. I'm not taking anything away from him, but you can't compare a rookie to Lawrence Taylor.
There's no comparison to when
Taylor
came in
career to be
81.
over.
I mean, it was. But you have Adoree Jackson sitting there at CB1. I'm not overly hyped about that.
Me neither.
You have X on the other side, and you have X in the secondary, and you have Xavier McKinney. Do you think, first of all, who do you think is going to be that fill in that CB2 position? And do you think everyone forgets that Wink's system imploded last year because he lost both starting corners and his safety all were Pro Bowlers?
It's tough.
And then his big seasons in 2018 and 19, he had top-rated defenses, but he also had Pro Bowlers all across the secondary.
It helps because obviously when
we don't have that.
You're leaving those guys out.
You're leaving the guys on an island. We don't have that. Who's taking over CB? Who's taking over CB2? And do you have concerns that it's going to turn into I've said this before. If we run into a true professional quarterback, if you run into someone that's having a hot hand, that it won't matter about the rush because you're going to get torched.
It's true. That's a fact. I don't know who's going to start. Like, it could be Holmes. He could be in the slot. It could be Aaron Robinson. Aaron Robinson's an underrated guy that Gettleman actually went out and got, traded up in the third round to get. And the Eagles were not happy about that because they wanted Aaron Robinson. I could definitely see he's a physical kid. He's still raw, but he's got good size. He's physical. I could see him maybe by the end of I don't know who will start there, but I could maybe see him. I don't think Cordell Flott's going to be the guy.
Have we even heard his name in camp much?
Not really. I think the first couple of days he was really good, but then kind of no. Obviously, Belton broke his collarbone. That did not help matters. But I do think by the end of the year, it'll be Aaron Robinson. I just don't know who's going to start there. So, but I do think Aaron Robinson could take the cornerback 2 spot. I love McKinney. I think McKinney.
I think McKinney's going to be a stud.
That's the jersey I got to buy this year. Got to buy me the old throwback Xavier McKinney. That's got to happen. I still don't know who the hell sent me this hat, the throwback hat. Somebody sent me this for my birthday or whatever, and this shirt. Somebody sent me both of these things, and I don't know who it was because there was no return address. It just says Fanatics or wherever it came from. I'm like, oh, this is freaking awesome. Who sent this to me? Yeah. So I always say my subscribers, I always say they're way too kind to me.
Yeah.
They do a lot for me. Like my guy Dyer, Giants fan. Like I can't even. My Dyer Giants fan bought me the chair I'm sitting in because back in the day I used to get super stickers and I would enact them. I try to act them out. And the big one was the chair spin. Well, I had a hard wooden kitchen chair that's on, so I'd have to pick it up and turn it around. Now I could just go wee without a problem. So Dyer Johnson got me that. He bought me.
He doesn't want to tell people. He just does that in general.
I do. Sometimes I do. I sometimes just sit down
here. Baddog looks downstairs and what the hell are you doing? I'm just spinning in my chair.
Yeah, I'm just spinning in my chair. Sometimes I do just spin in the chair. What the hell? Bought me the lights. He bought me 2 freaking Mitchell Ness, Kobe Bryant jerseys, and LeBron James jersey. Like, yeah, unbelievable. Like the generosity from these guys. I always say you're way too good to me, but that's why I'm extremely grateful that the support is overwhelming. It really is, and it's very humbling. And it's going to lead me into my next thing, which is I am doing a 24-hour stream a week from Saturday, August 20th. I start at 9 a.m. I don't stop until August 21st, 9 a.m.
Which is also the giant preseason game.
Right. So what I'm going to do is go to bed at 9 a.m. Or I'll go upstairs, I'll eat. I'll go to bed at like 9:30, 9:45. I'll have my wife wake me up at about 2. And I'll be coming back down here to do the game with Chris. There's no rest for me. August 21st, I'll be streaming the Giants game for sure. I'm probably going to take the 22nd off of work, though. I'm probably going to just take a personal day. I'm not, because I usually take a vacation week, but I lost a vacation week because it's union stuff. So we're not going to get into that. Yeah, not going to get into that. But half of whatever I make, be it super chats, new members of the channel, merchandise sales, or ad revenue, This time, half of what I get, I'll be donating to Wounded Warriors Project. So this is the 7th one I've done. Without the fantastic support of the guys and girls in this chat, I could never do something like that where I could do 24 straight hours and try to raise money for a good cause. I've done V Foundation. My buddy DWG, who unfortunately went to a different department, and that guy doesn't have time to pee anymore. That was my guy. He founded a local affiliate up here called Boys Day Out. We did one for them. I did one for St. Jude's. I've done one for Make-A-Wish. I've done one for Ronald McDonald House. And the last one I did was JDRF. And I always said, without the fantastic men and women who serve this country, I won't be able to do this either. Yeah. The people that go out of their way to sacrifice themselves and give some pay the ultimate price. Some come back and they're not exactly the same as when they left, but they're willing to do that to fight for our freedoms. That's the least I can do. So I've been looking forward to doing something for them for a while. So that's what August 20th is about. And that'll be fun. I always have fun with the chat. 24 hours is a long time. Last time I did it without a problem. And I think the C4 energy drinks help. So I'm going to have like 12 of them on deck. I'll probably drink 3 of these. We'll count the pee breaks. It's just fun. I have people on the channel. So if you're around at any time and you want to stop by, come on down. I usually have people swing by. They keep me company. And like I said, I got the chat's amazing. I'll have 90 to 100 people in the chat at 4:00 in the morning. It's insane. They keep me awake. So it's a lot of fun. There's guys like Afghanistan, Dire Giants fan, LA Lou. These guys will be there all 24 hours. They don't leave. They're there the entire time. And Afghanistan's my favorite. He's like, when it's over, he's like, now what do we do?
what do we do now, Eric?
Oh, like, go 48 hours, man. Dog, you can do it. So,
I was going to say, only 24?
Only 24. I'm telling you, Tim, in February, I felt so good. I'm like, I probably could have went 25.
Didn't you have a power outage last time?
Yes, I did. Yes, you're
so
right.
You took a break.
I did. I lost an hour. You're right. I forgot all about that. In the middle of the freaking day. You're right. I did. I lost power for like an hour. That's damn good memory.
Yeah. Can't remember my last name half the time, but
I felt bad because I'm like, they're thinking I'm sleeping. The people that have been these things know I don't. But yeah, I was like, that did happen to me. You're right. That better not happen again.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed in regards to that.
Well, yes, we will. But no, that's always fun. So, yeah, man. I love it. The chat's very good. And
yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I remember last year. So I did jump on for a little bit. I forgot what I was somewhere, but I remember trying.
You did.
I remember on my phone. Watching for a little bit, and like I said, I always found it amazing that you could do that for 24 hours. I mean, I jokingly say, I could do 2-3 hours and I'm done. But sitting there for like 20, sitting there for 24 straight. I talk a lot, I know that, but I don't know about 24 hours straight.
It's tough. What happens for me? It's not so much getting tired. My back will start to hurt just from. That's why it's good that I pee like every hour, because I get up and walk, to the bathroom's not too far. But LA Lou, I do have a cooler, because LA Lou is like, you need a cooler next to you.
There. So you're gonna have to get up.
So I will have a cooler. I do have a cooler out in the garage. I'll have some C4. The soda I drink warm. I drink my soda warm. I'm a psycho. But the C4 energy drinks I will have in a cooler. And it's a Saturday, so that's always my day. Well, it's not. Usually my night meal is the meal. I don't care about my macros.
Right.
Saturday's different. Saturday will be a lot of protein bars. Are easy to eat because I hate eating on camera, but I have no choice. But
I'm always eating on. I don't know what the hell your problem is. I always eat. I had breakfast on camera on Sunday.
I don't know. I'm just like, people don't want to watch me chew a protein bar.
It's called ASMR.
Yeah.
My wife taught me that. I don't know what the hell it stands for, but that's what it is.
I don't know what the hell it stands for either. But we'll do that. I'll order a pizza. Like for example, like I remember looking to order pizza. I'm like, man, I'm like $35 for a pizza.
Yeah.
I ain't ordering that. That's insane. Some guy donates me $40 and goes, get the damn pizza, Baddog. You're the man. I'm like, I didn't expect that. But yeah, so I'll get again because pizza's easy to eat.
Yeah.
My wife always takes good care of me. She in the morning she'll go out, she'll give me a massive Dunkin' Donuts coffee and in a sandwich or something. My wife takes good care of me on that day because she knows that's important to me. And again, just being able to raise awareness for stuff like that.
Well, that's the thing. Like
being able to use my format for stuff
for
like
something good.
Cool.
Like I always said, I mean, I don't, super chats are always wonderful, and I always thank everyone. But anyone that doesn't know my channel, I donate all my super chats to the Philadelphia Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
So in whatever live stream I do, whatever I make, I at the end of each month, I give it to the Philadelphia Children's Hospital as a donation because that's a big cause for me, and it's not a 24-hour thing like you're doing, but it's just something that I feel like I do this for fun. I do this to entertain. I guess to entertain. I don't know. Some people think it's entertaining or not, but it's just an easy way and it's a fun way to give to a charity that has touched my heart and that I always enjoyed. I worked not for them, but the company I worked for before we were a part of that, so it was all kind of a symbiotic thing. That's why it just allows to have a forum then to be able to donate money. Always makes me feel great at the end of the day, I guess.
Yep. And I do, like in October, I always have a couple streams where I do fundraising streams. They're not 24 hours, but any donations that I get 100% goes like Susan G. Komen. Like I did that last year. And I think you gave me $100, which
I did.
Awesome.
I pushed you over the limit.
Right. Yes, you did. Yeah, you did. We went way over the limit. I think I was trying to get like 300.
Yeah.
And like the first day it was like 900. And I was like, all right, let's make it 1,000. And then I did another one and we got it to like almost $1,400. But I've done that, Toys for Tots, obviously is a big one. Salvation Army, I do those around Christmas. And again, like you, I wish I could give more,
right.
But I'm not filthy rich. I'm not rich at all. I get by. But anything that I can do because of this format, my platform has allowed me to do it. I just, I'm very grateful for what each and one of these guys and girls gives me in the chat or watching my videos or commenting on the videos because that helps huge.
Yeah.
Like
people don't understand that.
Are awesome. They're awesome. But watching the videos, watching the ads, trust me, that is just as good. Yeah. That helps you. Commenting, hitting that's why I always ask for the like, comment, and watching the video. That helps huge. That helps any YouTuber a lot.
Yeah. And it's weird because I always hate saying it. Like, subscribe, all this stuff. But it's to your point, because it was James Williams of all people that told me you have to keep saying it because I never say it like in the live streams. We'll have 100-something people in the room and only have 21 likes. And James will sit there and text me and say, you got to say like.
Yeah.
And I always say
it's not because they don't want to. It's just they don't think about it. But they come in and they're like watching and like, oh, I do that.
Yeah.
I'll be in your stream like, I never hit the damn like button. What the hell's wrong with me? I should know more than anybody. Hit the like button. But sometimes I
always forget because I figure everyone's an adult. And if you want to like, you like. If you don't want to like, you don't like. You don't need me telling you every 15 minutes to like. But then you figure out it helps you in the analytics. It helps you.
Yes.
It helps you with everything else.
It helps you.
YouTube is a weird beast.
It really is a weird beast. It really is. But that's what I always say. That's the best way. The best way to support channels by hitting a like, watching the videos. The videos are good. Watching the videos. And like I said, if the ad's not 5 minutes, because I get some ads on my channel that are 5 minutes long. I'm like, why does that happen? But, if they're 15 seconds, you can stand watching a car commercial for 15 seconds. The longer you watch the ads, the more Google helps out the channel.
Yeah.
It's very strange, but that is really the kind of the inner workings. Nobody has ever really figured out the YouTube algorithm. It's kind of like the G-spot.
Is it a real thing?
Right. Nobody's ever really figured out the YouTube algorithm. We got scientists at Harvard working on it. Nobody can figure it the hell out.
Wait, on the YouTube button or the G-spot?
Both.
Which one was it?
Both. Yeah. So it's crazy, but this is a lot of fun. And one thing I love about YouTube is it has definitely given me the ability to live out my dream, which is talk about sports. And it's way different than when I started on here way back when. There was no live streaming. There was none of that stuff. And to be able to collab with another video maker is awesome. To be able to discuss it with the best chat on YouTube in here and take their questions and everything. That's awesome too. But to be able to do play-by-play, that has always been like my dream. I never pursued it, but I've always wanted to be a play-by-play guy, and I'd be watching the game, and I would say something, and Aaron Judge is out at second. My wife would be like, you missed your calling. Like, you should be doing this. Like, every time you say something, they say it right after you, and this allows me to do it. And I can be biased, and I can shout out 4:20 to go in the first quarter. 4:20 crew, you know what to do. Smoke them because you got them. I can't do that on ESPN. I could, but I wouldn't last long. Like, what the hell did that guy just say? But so it's fun. YouTube is fun. I try to. I'd have more fun if the Giants won.
If they actually won, I mean, it would be the first year. I mean, I started YouTube in 19, but I really didn't go into it until the 2020 season. That's when I really started doing videos, and it's just maybe it's my fault.
I don't think so.
They've been bad since I came onto YouTube. I mean, but you just want something. You know what? I just want, and I've said this before, and this is why I always get mad about the negativity comment. I prefer the unbiased comment, but I just, you want to talk about something good. You want to praise a team, but when you're losing 35-15, your quarterback's fumbling or dropping the ball or everything else, it's hard to sit there and go, hey, we're really good.
It is. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it would be nice to win some games, but I can tell you, I was here in 2007 in its infancy. I was here from 2007 to the middle of 2009. Then I moved, I changed jobs. I had a lot of stuff going on, and I just was like, I don't have time for this. And a lot of things were changing. I just got married. I'd been with my wife for a while before, but like I said, moved, new job. She had a new job. It was just crazy because my old job, I used to do the YouTube videos at work because I had time, because I ran a warehouse by myself. Nobody was there. I had time, and I wasn't using a phone because we didn't have phone cameras. I actually used a little video camera.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to buy batteries. It was a battery operated camera. It cost me a lot of money in batteries. I remember I had to buy batteries all the damn time to do that. So I had to hook the camera into the computer, upload it, and put the video on. But the Giants are really good. Won a Super Bowl. They were great in 08. They started off 5-0 in 09. And then I had to leave. And I came back in 2014. They've sucked ever since. They're banned ever since 2014. I did get to enjoy them going to the playoffs in 2016.
Oh, so you had 16, though.
I did have that. And then I had 17, which is the best and worst year ever because my son was born. That was a great thing. Eagles won the Super Bowl.
That was bad. No.
But I always jokingly say the best thing about the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, or the Eagles winning the Super Bowl is the best thing ever happened to my channel because I stopped trash talking and just said I just got to talk about sports. I can't.
You got to give them props. I keep seeing people saying you're missing member chats.
No, because because I don't have. This is what happens when I have the StreamYard chat up. I don't see the member chat. Now let me look at this. That's why I didn't have the YouTube chat up. I had the StreamYard chat up. There we go. Fabian, my man, thank you for being a member for 7 months.
Love Fabian, man.
NYBSMM5, thank you for being a member for 12 months, a year. Well, you should be getting the LT jersey next year, named very soon. You still have the Bavaro one, but you should have an LT one there. He says, hold up, talking about bald-head mofo. Oh, we'll definitely be talking about bald-headed mofos during that was the thing we did last time, because I'm bald. So,
oh my God, you do
we always take my hat off during the charity. That's just part of it. I'm like, I don't care, whatever. But we like to bring up, because I always say the best people were bald.
Hold on 1 second though.
So we're
good. Okay.
So
nothing's moved yet, so we're good.
So we talk about like every bald guy ever. And it always starts with Jordan. He's the best basketball player. He's bald. LeBron is bald. The best wrestlers ever. Stone Cold, bald. The Hulk Hogan's bald. The Rock is bald. Derek Jeter's bald. What's that?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had the big balls.
Right. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was bald. Right. So that's how it starts. It's always that type of stuff. So Barry Bonds is bald. It's just, so we always joke around Kojak. And then we just get into every freaking bald guy ever. Terry Bradshaw is bald. Won 4 Super Bowls. So it's just
so
that's the type of nonsense.
So you're saying Daniel Jones should shave his head?
It might help. It might help. Maybe he'd become aerodynamic. Maybe the synapses in the brain would connect better if the hair follicles. Maybe the hair follicles.
I like the idea of him being aerodynamic.
maybe the hair follicles get in the way of like the connectors or the receptors in the brain. Maybe he has ADHD. I found out today that I have that.
All right.
Yeah. Because I was watching something where I was listening to I don't know what channel it was. It was like the difference between a narcissist and a sociopath and a psychopath. I'm like, oh, this is right up my alley. I like this type of stuff because I'm big into forensic.
My wife is enamored with like narcissism.
I
was like hear about the video.
Forensic psychology. Like I like that. So, and then it went to a doctor talking about ADHD, and I'm like, wow, do I have ADHD? Holy cow. They're like, because he's like, you would think, oh, well, I don't have ADHD. I can focus, laser. Like when I'm in the gym, laser focused. When I'm watching a ball game, laser focused. When I'm in a meeting, though, like I work what am I having for dinner tonight? What am I working out tonight? What video can I make on YouTube? I wander off. You'll walk into a room, forget what you went in there for. Oh, God, that's me too. I walk into why did I come in here? Put my freaking water bottle down. Where the hell did I put my water bottle?
That's called old age.
Yeah, that too. That's that too. But yeah, I was like, wow. And he's like, you'll get really agitated for like 5 seconds and then it's gone. I go, that happens to me all the time. I get really agitated over nothing and then it's like it's gone. Stupid. And I'm like, wow, I really do have ADHD. Found out something about myself that I'm like, geez, just more mental issues. We all know I have a ton of those. I'm like, go another log in the fire. Yeah.
I got the personality issues. Now I got the mental issues.
Right. I got all kinds of issues.
Oh,
somebody always be like, what do you got a problem? I'm like, I got a lot more than one.
I always say that. I said, where do you want to start?
Right. Irish, thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. He says, hey, Baddog and Tim, I enjoy both your streams and content, but having you both together has been really good. You both keep it real and honest. Slente. I hope it's Slenty. No, I'm botching that. But cheers, obviously, and Irish. Thank you, Irish Rover. Appreciate that.
Irish Rover's always around, always keeping me on my toes.
It is. But like I said, I mean, Tim and I will work together again. It's just during the off season, there's nothing to talk. There really is nothing to talk about. And obviously, I don't do as many live streams. I kind of like to enjoy the nice weather, go out and do different things. I'll do a Yankee game now and again and maybe a hangout. But when there's not much to talk about, it's difficult. And I know, like I said, when we get to this point in the year, I'm going to start making video like 3-4 videos a week. And I'm pretty much making a video every day. And I know whether it's a Yankee or Giants video, I'm going to make 4 or 5 videos a week. I'm going to do just a hangout, a Q&A. Those come back. I'll be able to collab with guys like Tim. Obviously, Chris and I do the show every week. Chris and I will be doing the games every week. And, I'll be working with Yankee content creators and all this stuff. And then the Lakers come on. And I just know from like this, starting this point right through the middle of January, extremely busy. When football's over, obviously, I still have the Lakers, which keeps me busy because that's 3 or 4 nights a week. Baseball's done. And football is usually done for the Giants by January. It's usually done for the Giants by October. But hopefully not this year, So that's where I kind of like to take a little time away and not stream as much. Try to get some sleep. So.
I do the video a day because you know what? Especially during the offseason, because I kind of got caught I'm retired. So I kind of got caught in a routine. So it's one of those things. I get up early, I come downstairs, I go in my office, I turn on the mic, I talk for 10 minutes, I build a thumbnail, and 20 minutes later, I'm back upstairs again. And it's almost like if I don't do that, it's like part of my day, there is not complete that I missed something from the plus I love to talk. So I mean, that helps as well.
I put that up there just so you know. Bald people are sexy. See? Bald is beautiful, baby.
Yeah, that's one. That's
one's better than none.
It's 1 out of 253. That's a one.
Well,
just bring that up.
She's a female. I don't know about the guys. I don't think they're gonna be. I don't think they're gonna think that. 2017 dire Giants fan. 2017 led to. Oh yeah, so it just led to me, like I said, talking about football. And like I couldn't trash talk anymore. It was kind of just done. And again, Dire Giants fan, whenever we get to that 100,000 mark, that's going to be a lot of the video, just kind of telling people that don't know where I started, how I got to where I am, people that inspired me, and you know, that's really what it's going to be. But yeah, 2017, the Eagles winning obviously hurt the trash talking thing, but also my kid, you know, I don't want my kid to see the things I did before.
Right.
Anybody that was around and knew me, you can ask Punkum. Punkum might not be in here, but I know Punkum has been with me since 2008. And he will tell you, and I'm not the only, you can ask guys like, I mean, I don't know if you guys know Simus. You can ask any of these guys that were in the TTC. They will tell you, I was maybe not, they might not say I was the best ever, but I am in everybody's top 3. And there is tons of people that say Baddog's the greatest trash talk ever. Punkum will tell you, I never lost a trash talking battle ever. He's like, I've seen every one of his, never lost. EDP never took a beating worse than when he tried to trash talk me. Never. It didn't happen. Nobody beat him down the way I did. Nobody. So, but I don't want my son to see me doing that stuff because I was absolutely ruthless to people. So, you know, I kind of just changed the content around and became more, I think I became more aware of younger people that will watch the channel because I had a young one myself. And I'm like, yeah, you know, when my kid's like 12, I wouldn't want him watching me. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, that's the one thing, you know, and that's the one thing I was going to actually ask you about. I mean, is there anything that you've been doing this for a while because you're old, not young like me.
No lies detected.
Not at all. I mean, is there? I mean, I understand that because we talked before that, you know, that the trash talk thing that you guys have like a trash talk channel.
Yeah, trash talk circle. Yes,
you circle.
That's how the sporting community started on YouTube.
Was I mean, is there anything going back in the day that you just look back and say? People always ask me, is there something I regret saying on YouTube? And I said no, because usually when something comes out of my mouth, it's just because that's what I think. But you've been doing this a little bit longer. Is there anything that you can say that you regret? Like you sit there and say, well, you know, maybe I just shouldn't have done that.
I don't know if there's anything like I don't think I ever really crossed the line. Like I never went after anybody's family or anything. Like I wouldn't do that because I was always like, you know, their family's not talking trash to me. They are. And that was really what you were supposed to be a trash talk. You were supposed to just destroy people. I mean, I'm not lying to you, Tim. I made people cry. I made people cry. They camped up and cried. Yeah. DK Stefan, I'll never forget this. If Punkum was here, I'd tell you. I made the kid cry. I don't know. I didn't feel bad about it either. I was like, yeah, that's right. I made people leave. They didn't want anything to do with it. I made people. One of my favorites, this guy, Philly boy from Texas. That poor guy had no chance against me. I used to tell him all the time, I'm like, you are not a fan of the Eagles. You just like the gear. You just like the colors. You like the logo. You know nothing about the Eagles. And he would always say he went to Baylor. I was a running back for Baylor. I said, Baylor what? Baylor High School? No, I played for the Baylor Bears. Like you couldn't just look up his name and see he never played there. So I said to him, I go, listen, if you play for the Baylor Bears, why is your entire house Eagles? I'm like, how come you don't have like a Saturday room for the Baylor Bears? If I played for the Sooners, you bet your ass I'd have Sooner stuff everywhere if I was an alum of Oklahoma. The next day, the guy went out and bought a Baylor Bears shirt and wore it. I made him buy a shirt. Also, I said, why don't you come out with a video and tell us about the Eagles draft picks? Since you know so much about the Eagles, I said, why don't you tell us about the Eagles draft picks? Tell me what you like, what you don't like. Because I would do that. And besides trash talk, I would talk about the draft and I would talk about football, you know, in the offseason and stuff. So he does. But he's too dumb to realize when he wears sunglasses doing the video, I could see him reading it off the computer. So these are the types of things that I used to do to people. And that's why I was I just knew, I still know how to push buttons. I just know I'm very good at observing these. I would observe the way they move. I'd observe their surroundings and their videos, things that they didn't like. Like I just was able to really needle them. And one of the best compliments I ever got was from a guy named D-Town. He was another really good trash talk. He's a Cowboys fan. And he said, he goes, Baddog is the type of guy you would pay to roast your family. That was one of the best compliments I ever got. He's like, you would pay him because it was malicious, but it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't really over the top.
Right.
So I don't really remember saying that. Like I mentioned the Jones thing. I said that might have been a not so good comparison. You know, I just used Daniel Jones because obviously the same name as Jim Jones, and I felt like Daniel Jones had a little bit of a cult, but you know, that was a serious thing with Jim Jones. Daniel Jones certainly not that serious. So
yeah, Daniel Jones didn't kill 300 people.
Right, 900 people.
900, whatever.
Yeah. So yes, 900. I know all about that.
Yeah.
That's because that's like that intrigues the hell out of me. That type of stuff. Like,
I do want to sum this up though. Baddog has ADHD. Harvard University is trying to find the G spot.
Yes.
And at this point in time.
And figure out the YouTube algorithm.
We haven't figured out the YouTube algorithm. There's a lot going on right now because someone just pinged me and says, "Are you going to talk Giants?"
Yeah, it's true. I think the Giants talk kind of went away.
I was just thinking about it. Go, yeah, I think the Giants went down the pike the wrong way.
That's the ADHD. See what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. I did. I
was normal until I came on this show.
Yeah. Oh, I mess everybody up. They come here. They're never the same. It's like leaving a movie that like one of those things you're like, what the hell just happened? You leave the movie 2 hours later, like, what the hell did I just watch? That's like putting on my channel. Tutto grazie, paisana. Grazie. He says, massive salute, Kevin and Tim and all the Giants nations. Drop by to pay our proper respects and slap all the stinky boys out of the dough hard and fast.
I have that memorized.
I know.
That's why I love Tuto, man, because I'm like, as soon as I see him pop up, I say it. I'm like, I know that in my sleep.
Yeah, yes. Mike Gorga said, what? No Malik Willis.
Hey, listen, Malik, this is my biggest fear, and I've said this besides spiders. The opening day, Ryan Tannehill goes down. Giants are winning by 6. Malik comes in, beats us with a late touchdown.
That's the type of crap that happens, ain't it?
That's what happens to the Giants.
That's a type of crap. That's a type of crap that happens.
Now I got to tell you right now, like I said, I've been watching all the Titan stuff. Malik is looking, and people that follow me on Twitter can see it. I post all the videos all the time. He's got something. If you watch some of his throws and some of the things that he does and the way he moves, and even Vrabel has come out and say, he's light years ahead of where they thought he would be at this point in time. And there's talk in some Tennessee papers because everyone hates Tannehill because of the playoff debacles. They're already looking for Malik to take over.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to ask if you heard anything about it. I saw someone in the chats like turning the Yankee game's been on the whole time.
Yeah, I know.
I came down here, I turned the Yankee game on. That's been on. I see they got first and second, top of the 8th, and with one out and Trevino at the plate, and he hits we ground ball to third. There's one play that'll go to first, and they'll advance the runners, but there's 2 outs, so we'll take a 2-out hit. Tutto grazie, paisano. You want me on that wall? You need me on that wall. Tim, did you or did you not order Code Red on Big Fat Kenny?
You're goddamn right, I did. That's Tuto. That is Tuto's. If I had a Tuto sound effect, I took that clip and have that. What did you order the Code Red? So every time he comes up, I always play that. Nice.
Did you order the Code Red? Philly 500 likes to drink Code Red.
Oh, there you go.
Yuck. What does that? But listen, it is 12:20. Tim and I have gotten way off track. That's my fault. I'm driving this train, and it's not the Malik Willis train, but I drove this one right off the tracks as I usually do. Tim, I appreciate you coming on. The next time we do this, though, we will have a lot more stuff. We'll have a lot more Giant stuff to talk about because obviously there'll be preseason games played. Right. I would like to do this before the season starts. Right. But we'll have a couple preseason games played. We'll know our entire roster. We'll kind of know what's going on and where we are. It'll be a lot easier to stay on the Giants for 2 hours as opposed to wherever the hell I took us. Like I said, YouTube algorithm, G Spot, bald men. I don't know what the hell happened over here. One thing I can say, never a dull moment here. That's one thing I can say.
The last hour of my stream, or the last 40 minutes of my stream, does the same thing. It just goes totally offline, and I watch the count, and I'm like, people are still here.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are like, all right, they lost us at this point. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. And they probably don't know either. We're old. It's past our bedtime. So, and the Mariners get out of it. The Yankees can't get a freaking big hit again. Boy, what a shock! What a shock!
Yeah, I know it's one of those things. I was just looking at what happened to Jeff McNeil. So something came up with that, and I see the Mets one, of course, beat the Reds 6-2.
Yeah, well, the Mets are playing really good.
Hey, listen, a win is a win.
The Mets are playing really good baseball right now. The Mets are a really good team. Mets, Dodgers, NLCS.
You could see
it'll be like 1988. It might not end.
Hopefully it's not like 1988.
Well, I was going to say it might not end the same, but I know they matched up. The Mets should have won that series.
You know what? We got the lead over the Phillies now, and especially the Braves also, because especially taking what we took with the Braves. But the problem is the pitching going to hold up? I mean, is Scherzer, is DeGrom, are we gonna be able to get to the postseason? With them healthy enough to make a serious contribution.
You'll be fine. You were able to win all those games without DeGrom to begin with. That's like just getting a massive trade.
Yeah.
It's like a huge trade addition at the deadline, getting him back. So I love DeGrom. I hope he's healthy. DeGrom's usually in the chat here, the orphanage DeGrom, but he's not here today. He's one of my favorites. But Tim, I do appreciate you coming on, like I said, and going off the tracks with me as always.
And off the rails.
Chat, you are the absolute best. I never say it enough how grateful I am of all your support all the time, no matter if I'm on track or off, no matter if I'm ranting or I'm happy, which we know happiness doesn't usually happen on this channel. Hopefully this year's different.
It's going to be different. Confidence.
Yes, confidence. Something Daniel Jones needs. Confidence. But I do appreciate you. If you haven't done so one last time, make sure you hit the like button, because that is one thing I do know about the YouTube algorithm. They love the like button. You want to help me out or Tim out or any content creator that you like, watch the videos. Just watch the videos. Make it halfway through. If it's a 12-minute video and you can watch it for 6 minutes, awesome. If you can put up with a 15-second ad, watch it. It helps. It helps. Just those are the little things I know about YouTube. Why YouTube takes 20 subscribers away from me every day, that I couldn't tell you. Guess it happens to a lot of content creators. If you haven't done so, make sure you go into the description. The link to this handsome young man next to me is right there. He does videos almost every day, maybe every day. He also does live streams a few times a week. I know he does one on Sunday morning. He does them on Tuesday afternoon with his buddy Dom from across the pond. Obviously, Dom not able to join us tonight because it's 5:23 in the morning in the UK.
You'll be up soon to go to work.
Yes, he will. So Poppycockers opens early. But yes, make sure you subscribe to Tim, and appreciate you guys and girls being here. So any last words, sir?
You know what? You always never want to say it, but you can't get any worse. Last year was a debacle. This year, I said it while you were in the bathroom. It's a fun season to have because there's no expectations. As long as you see player improvement and foundational players being built, you know it's going to get better. It may not be better this year, but it could be fun this year just to watch, just to see what this team could be and how this talent is going to be cultivated. And you know what? If we win 5, that's great. If we somehow squeak out 7 or 8, that's gravy. But even if we lose 4, but we still are building talent, I'm still happy. And I think everyone else should be, but just have Shane and Dable realistic expectations.
Yeah. And I also think they're younger football minds, and it feels different. It feels different. So hopefully it's different in a good way. That's all I gotta say. So once again, guys and girls, thank you so much. Get some sleep, and we will see you soon. For Online Tim and Online Big Blue Sports, this is your boy, the Bad Digga Dizzle. Good night, everybody. We out.
Good night.